Chapter 330. Jiang Peihuan entering the palace. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan felt even more helpless. Xiaobai didn't look at Xiao Juanhao but raised its head to look at Jiang Peihuan. Although Xiaobai had been tamed considerably, it was still, after all, a wolf. Jiang Peihuan didn't dare to take it to the palace. After thinking for a moment, Jiang Peihuan gently stroked Xiaobai's head and softly said, "Xiaobai, one have important matters to attend to and I can't take you. In a few days, I'll take you hunting outside the city." Upon hearing the first part, Xiaobai lowered its head in disappointment. But at the latter part, it perked up with excitement. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan laughed and petted it, then turned to Yu Er and said, "Take it back and give it some treats." "Yes." After calming Xiaobai, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani boarded the carriage to the palace. Both headed straight to Kunning Palace. Upon seeing Xiao Nani following Jiang Peihuan, the Empress' eyes were filled with amusement. "I just wanted Huan Er to come for a chat, and you came too? Imperial sister-in-law, just treat me as if I'm not here, I won't interrupt." "You really are." Hearing Xiao Nani's words, the Empress paused, her smile deepening. "Your Royal Majesty, don't mind him. Did you call me today for a particular matter?" "I did call you for something, but it's not urgent. Sit and rest first." "Nanny, bring the milk for the queen." The Empress still remembered that Jiang Peihuan liked milk, and had it prepared in advance. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan didn't say anything, quietly sipping her milk. After more than an hour, the Empress got to the point. She gestured to the nanny and whispered, "Bring everything here." "Yes." Moments later, Jiang Peihuan saw the table in the inner hall filled with various gifts. Seeing these items, her eyes widened in surprise. Catching her surprised look, the Empress softly said, "These are gifts sent by the Li household." "That is from Madame Li." After a moment's silence, Jiang Peihuan spoke directly, "Your Royal Majesty, did you call me to see if there's any issue with these gifts?" "Yes." Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, the Empress nodded and smiled. "Huan Er, you truly are sharp-witted. If I called for the imperial doctor, it might create complications. So, one had to bring you into the palace. Thank you for coming." "Your Royal Majesty, you're too kind. I should thank you properly for the matter regarding the fourth princess." Speaking of the fourth princess, the Empress didn't say anything more. Emperor Qi Ming originally wanted to betroth the fourth princess to Jiang Changbai, and planned to discuss it with Jiang Hong. Subsequently, Xiao Nani sought the Empress. No one knew how the Empress arranged it, but the secret meeting between the fourth princess and someone from the Zhao family was discovered by palace servants. Even if Emperor Qi Ming valued his daughter highly, he felt too embarrassed to mention this incident. He immediately reprimanded concubine Meng, and arranged for the fourth princess to be married off to the Zhao family. Setting her teacup aside, Jiang Peihuan began examining the pile of supplements on the table. These supplements were top-notch tonics. However, as she inspected, she couldn't help but frown. There was something unclean on every item. By the end of her examination, Jiang Peihuan's eyes were darkened. "Your Royal Majesty, these items should be discarded immediately." Though the Empress had already anticipated this, a trace of sadness appeared in her eyes upon hearing it. Although she had already guessed the result, when she really heard this, the Empress' eyes still revealed a bit of sadness. "I overthought things." She had believed that Madame Li held some genuine affection for her. After all, she was her maternal aunt and had been called mother for many years. "Your Royal Majesty, you're pregnant now. Please don't get upset." Seeing the Empress' displeasure, Jiang Peihuan softly advised. Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's voice, the Empress composed herself and then said, "Huan Er, thank you for this." "Your Royal Majesty, shouldn't you inform the Lord Li? After all, he is your biological father." "We cannot tell him." The moment Jiang Peihuan spoke, the Empress responded firmly. Seeing the confusion in Jiang Peihuan's eyes, the Queen smiled softly. "Huan Er, not everyone is as fortunate as you, having a family to rely upon. Informing my father will only add to his worries. He can't abandon my mother, nor can he turn against my external family." With those few words, Jiang Peihuan understood where Madame Li's confidence came from. "Your Royal Majesty, Even if you don't inform Lord Li, doing nothing will only embolden her further. I'll handle this. Imperial sister-in-law, it's fine if you don't tell the Lord Li about this. However, doing nothing will only embolden her further. Therefore, I will take care of this matter. Xiao Nani, who had been silent all this while, suddenly looked at the Empress and spoke. Hearing Xiao Nani's words, the Empress quickly replied, Nani, don't act recklessly. Imperial sister-in-law, don't worry. I know what to do. It's getting late, you should rest. After saying this, Xiao Nani took Jiang Peihuan and left. Why do you keep staring at me? In the carriage, Xiao Nani suddenly addressed Jiang Peihuan. Hearing his voice, Jiang Peihuan laughed, leaning into him and softly said, One thought the King Cheng was cold-hearted to everyone. After the imperial mother passed away, the emperor kept me close, fearing I'd lack care. However, he was always busy and never had time for me. The great Empress Dowager took every opportunity to try to kill me. Only the Empress looked after me. Although imperial sister-in-law took care of me because of imperial brother, but I still remember her kindness. Jiang Peihuan listened quietly as Xiao Nani shared his story. After he finished, she softly asked, So, how does King Cheng plan to help the Empress seek justice? I will give them a taste of their own medicine. That night, at the Li mansion. Madam, it's terrible. The second young miss had an accident. Madam Li was roused from her sleep by a frantic knocking at her door. By the time Madam Li, assisted by her maidservant, stepped out, she saw her daughter's maid, eyes filled with tears. Why are you shouting in the middle of the night? Madam, the second young miss keeps vomiting blood. You, an heir? Hearing the maid's words, Madam Li's face turned pale. She rushed to the second young miss courtyard. When she reached the door, what met her eyes was her daughter, continuously vomiting blood. Chapter 331. Something happened to the Empress. Second Miss Li lay in bed, incessantly coughing up blood. Her face was a gruesome shade of pale. Seeing this, Madam Li felt as if her soul was about to be snatched away in fear. Where's the doctor? Quickly, fetch the doctor. Madam, second young miss seems to have been poisoned. But one do not know what poison she has ingested. It seems as though she's been affected by multiple toxins, a servant reported. Before Madam Li could respond, the doctor nearby quickly chimed in. But just by hearing the mention of poison, her eyes were filled with terror. At this moment, Lu Yun, second Miss Li's state, suddenly froze. Madam Li, her eyes filled with anxiety, heard Lu Yun's voice and impatiently asked, What is it? My lady, it seems that second young miss might have. Lu Yun lowered her voice, whispering a few words into Madam Li's ear. Whatever she said, upon hearing it and then looking back at second young miss, Madam Li's eyes were filled with renewed horror. That night, the Li mansion was in utter chaos. Yet throughout, they dared not seek the imperial doctor's help from the palace. Regarding the affairs of the Li mansion, Jiang Peihuan did not pry into the details, for she believed that Xiao Nani had things under control. He wouldn't actually let someone die. Thus, in about half a month's time, second Miss Li recovered. However, that very night, someone from the imperial palace knocked on the door of the general's mansion. The visitor was Wang Kuan. So even though it was the middle of the night, Jiang Peihuan immediately got out of bed. As Jiang Peihuan was rising, Xiao Nani also quickly got up. Chief Wang, what's the matter that you've come at such a late hour? Queen Cheng, you must quickly come see the Empress. Wang Kuan, usually calm, looked visibly distressed. Noticing the urgency in his eyes, Jiang Peihuan asked, What has happened to the Empress? The Empress suffers from unbearable abdominal pain. The imperial doctor are clueless. She insisted on seeing you, and His Majesty had no choice but to send me to fetch you. All right, I'll accompany you to the palace immediately. Hearing about the Empress' severe pain, Jiang Peihuan didn't even bother to change her attire. She left in her casual clothes with Wang Kuan. Xiao Nani followed, draping a cloak over her. Beware of the cold. He carefully placed the cloak around Jiang Peihuan and made sure it was fastened. Sitting in the carriage, Jiang Peihuan couldn't help but ask Xiao Nani, Do you think this has anything to do with the Li family? Hearing the mention of the Li family, a shadow passed over Xiao Nani's eyes. If it truly is the doing of the Li family, then I'm afraid their end is near. Jiang Peihuan's first instinct was to associate the incident with the Li family. However, upon entering the Kuan-Ning Palace, she began to doubt that theory. The Empress was resting in her inner chamber, which Jiang Peihuan had no choice but to enter. This was her first time visiting the Empress' sleeping quarters. However, as soon as she entered the room, she detected an array of unsettling scents. Queen Cheng, you've arrived. Seeing Jiang Peihuan, the old nanny by the Empress' side seemed to regard her as a savior. Nanny, you personally bring the people to. Listening to Jiang Peihuan's arrangement, the nanny had coldness in her eyes, but she responded to Jiang Peihuan with great respect. Rest assured, Queen Cheng, I will handle this. The Empress lay in bed, her body drenched in cold sweat. She held her stomach tightly, her eyes filled with fear. Seeing Jiang Peihuan, the Empress' eyes lit up. Huan you're here. Don't be afraid, Your Royal Majesty. After paying her respects to the Empress, Jiang Peihuan held the Empress' hand. Once the Empress calmed down, Jiang Peihuan then took her pulse. Queen Cheng, how is the Empress? Emperor Qi Ming and Xiao Nani waited outside. As Jiang Peihuan emerged, the Emperor immediately inquired, Your Majesty, Her Royal Majesty has been poisoned. I've prescribed a remedy, but perhaps one should have my nanny prepare it. After saying this, Jiang Peihuan directed Yi Xiao. You go and prepare the medicine. Yes. Seeing this, Emperor Qi Ming's eyes displayed a hint of anger. Turning his anger aside, he told Wang Kuan, Wang Kuan, watch closely. I want to see who dares to harm the Empress and the Prince. Yes. After Wang Kuan and Yi Xiao left, Emperor Qi Ming looked at Jiang Peihuan. When you checked the Empress, did you discover anything? She has musk poisoning. Fortunately, she consumed a small amount, so there's still time. I noticed some things were tampered with in the Empress' quarters. By this time, the Empress nanny had brought forward evidence. Furthermore, behind the nanny were several maids and eunuchs, all bound. Seeing this, Emperor Qi Ming's already stern expression darkened further. The Empress nanny nurse knelt, tears in her eyes. Your Majesty, you must seek justice for the Empress. They wanted to kill both her and the unborn prince. Explain everything. Hearing the Emperor, the nanny directed her words at the bound eunuchs and maids. Speak the truth before His Majesty. Your Majesty, we're innocent. We did nothing. One. Innocent? Didn't you care for the orchids in the Empress room? Why is there musk in the flower pot? Claiming ignorance? Rebels, drag them out and execute them. Emperor Qi Ming commanded, eyes blazing with fury. But Xiao Nani calmly interjected, wait. Meeting the Emperor's gaze, he sneered. If we execute them now, would let their masters go unpunished. Let me handle them. I'm sure they won't withstand the tortures of the Ministry of Justice. Han Feng, take them away. However, someone then spoke. Your Majesty, it's Consort Shu. Once one person spoke, others followed suit. Consort Shu, Consort Xian, and Consort Meng. None were left out. Consort Shu, Consort Xian, noble Consort Meng, none of them were left behind. Hearing this, Emperor Qi Ming's face turned dark as coal. Jiang Peihuan watched with mocking eyes. When the Empress was childless, the side consort kept the peace. But with news of the Empress' pregnancy, they couldn't stay calm. My queen, the medicine is ready. Yi Xiao entered with the medicine. Chapter 332. Chapter 332. Standout. Jiang Peihuan gazed upon the scene before her. Addressing Emperor Qi Ming directly, Your Majesty, one shall tend to the Empress now. Without waiting for Emperor Qi Ming's response, Jiang Peihuan, accompanied by Yi Xiao, entered the Empress chamber. By the time Jiang Peihuan entered, the Empress had already opened her eyes, likely having heard the commotion outside. Jiang Peihuan didn't speak immediately, but took the medicine from Yi Xiao's hands. She then looked at the Empress and whispered, Your Royal Highness, please take the medicine. Yi Xiao stepped forward, propping a pillow behind the Empress. Seeing the medicine Jiang Peihuan brought to her lips, the Empress opened her mouth to take it. After swallowing the medicine, the Empress said softly, All these years I've been in the palace, I have never wronged them. Yet they harbor such deep hatred for me and the child within me. It's not you they despise but the titles of Empress and Crown Prince, Jiang Peihuan responded, even though she hadn't wanted to. But she knew the Empress needed someone to talk to. Hearing this, a bitter expression appeared on the Empress' face. Your Royal Highness, be at ease. The Emperor will make the right decision, Jiang Peihuan consoled, and the Empress finished the bowl of medicine. Just as Jiang Peihuan handed the empty bowl to Yi Xiao, cries could be heard from outside. Your Majesty, I had nothing to do with this. One have no idea why the maid would accuse me. I swear one have never ordered her to poison the Empress. Inside, Jiang Peihuan noticed the fury in the Empress' eyes upon hearing these accusations. She quickly took the Empress' hand, saying, Your Royal Highness, don't be angry. Remember the child within you. Outside, the cries continued. Your Majesty, you've known me since we were children. You know one could never even hurt an ant. How could I poison? Your Majesty, the Empress needs rest, someone interjected, interrupting the distressed voice. Looking up, they saw Jiang Peihuan standing at the entrance to the Empress' chamber. Upon seeing Jiang Peihuan, Emperor Qiming quickly inquired about the well-being of the Empress and the child. Her Royal Majesty has just taken her medicine and needs rest. But the noise outside is disturbing her, Jiang Peihuan said. Imperial brother, do not let these cries disturb the peace of my imperial sister-in-law. Conduct the inquiry by the palace gates, said Xiao Nani in a cold voice. After Xiao Nani's statement, all the eunuchs and palace maids were let out. Emperor Qiming had no choice but to follow them to the palace gates. Chairs were quickly set up for him and Xiao Nani. Xiao Nani took Jiang Peihuan's hand and said, Huan heir, come and sit. Now all the side consorts stood near the palace gates. Even though it wasn't extremely cold, a chilly breeze was blowing. A gust of cold air made the side consorts shiver involuntarily. Your Majesty, I am cold, one of them voiced. Consort Meng, perhaps you should first explain the matter of the Empress being poisoned to the Emperor. Otherwise, plotting against the Crown Prince is a grave crime. And even the Zhao family can't escape punishment. Xiao Nani glanced at Consort Meng, a faint smile on his lips. However, there wasn't the slightest hint of amusement in his eyes, only threats and warnings. Meeting Xiao Nani's gaze, Consort Meng harbored deep resentment in her heart, but she didn't dare to utter a word. Instead, she cried pitifully. Inside the room, the Empress, with the help of her maid, watched this scene from a distance, mockery evident in her eyes. After all these years, she only knows this one trick. Your Royal Majesty, you should rest. Queen Cheng has instructed that you need plenty of it. With Queen Cheng and her husband here, you will be fine. With the maid's support, the Empress laid back in bed. Looking at the maid before her, the Empress whispered, My past kindness towards Nani was simply because the Emperor favored him. Never did one expect that now he would be the one to stand up for me. Your Royal Majesty? Forget it. Go tell the Emperor that this is a misunderstanding, and he should not pursue it. Your Royal Majesty, are you sure? Have you ever seen the Emperor truly care for her over these years? Knowing the outcome, it might be better for me to speak up. The maid's eyes were filled with sympathy, but she knew the Empress was right. A moment later, the maid came out and relayed the Empress' message. As expected, upon hearing the Empress' words, Emperor Qiming heaved a sigh of relief, and a smug look flashed across Consort Meng's eyes. The other concubines exchanged knowing glances. Watching this, Jiang Peihuan couldn't help but frown. Before, she had only heard of the Empress' gentle nature. Now she realized the reason behind it. Imperial brother, one have something to report. What is it? Upon hearing Xiao Nani's words, Emperor Qiming responded instinctively. Facing the Emperor, Xiao Nani spoke calmly. A few days ago, an official from the punishment department reported a case. A man killed a street vendor in broad daylight. That man was Zhao Guang, the legitimate son of the Zhao family. Zhao Guang was not only the legitimate heir of the Zhao family, but also the fiancé of the fourth princess and the nephew of Consort Meng. Upon hearing Xiao Nani's words, fury blazed in Consort Meng's eyes. However, Xiao Nani ignored her, turning to Emperor Qiming. Imperial brother, there's concrete evidence. How should we handle this? Emperor, this must be a misunderstanding. Guang. A misunderstanding? Are you suggesting I falsely accused him? Before Consort Ming could finish, Xiao Nani interrupted her. King Cheng always acts justly. However, knowing the close relationship between you and the Empress, and considering the timing of this news about Guang heir, I can't help but suspect you are taking sides with the Empress. As she uttered the last sentence, a sinister look appeared in Consort Ming's eyes. I am siding with the Empress. So what? Your Majesty, you heard him. King Cheng has admitted it. Imperial brother, imperial sister-in-law is your main consort, whom you married grandly from the Xuanwu Gate. Even if Consort Ming is favored, she's still just a side consort. Would you tarnish the Empress' reputation for a mere side consort? A side consort is nothing more than a plaything. Everyone present, except for Jiang Peihuan, were Emperor Qi Ming's side consort. At Xiao Nany's words, they all wore expressions of displeasure. However, the latter did not care at all. Imperial brother, if killing a vendor is not a big deal, then is secretly building a gambling house not a grave crime? Chapter 333. Offended King Cheng. When making accusations, one needs evidence. You've said so much, but where is your proof? Before Emperor Qi Ming could speak, Consort Ming blurted out. Upon hearing Xiao Nani mention the secret establishment of a gambling den, panic filled Consort Ming's eyes. Consort Ming, if you want proof, it's simple. I have evidence right here, declared Xiao Nani. Turning to someone outside, he commanded, Han Feng, bring forth the testimonies. Yes. A tense silence enveloped the palace hall. Seeing Xiao Nany's demeanor, the Empress could no longer sit inside, and with the assistance of her nanny, stood up to leave. Empress, why did you come out? Queen Mother, why are you leaving? Emperor Qi Ming rushed to her side when he saw her. Smiling at Emperor Qi Ming's outstretched hand, the Empress softly replied, this matter is of great importance. Since it arose because of me, I should hear it out. She then took a seat nearby. Your Royal Highness, you should rest and take care at this moment, said Jiang Peihuan, taking a cloak from the nanny and draping it over the Empress. Feeling the warmth, the Empress gently patted Jiang Peihuan's hand, smiling at her in appreciation. Han Feng was swift. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, he entered with 2 letters. Han Feng came very quickly. In less than 10 minutes, he came in with 2 letters. Let Imperial brother take a look. Han Feng initially offered the letters to Xiao Nani, but the latter declined with a simple gesture. So Han Feng presented them to Emperor Qi Ming. Upon reading the contents of the letters, Emperor Qi Ming's expression changed dramatically. How audacious of Zhao Guang. Does he even regard me at all? Your Majesty, there must be a misunderstanding, please. What misunderstanding? These are his own handwritten letters. Can I possibly be wronging him? Before Consort Ming could finish, Emperor Qi Ming angrily threw the letters onto her. Upon reading the letter, darkness clouded Consort Ming's vision, and she almost fainted. Noble Consort Ming lowered her head and saw the contents of the letter. When she saw the contents, her vision went black and she almost fainted. But she couldn't. Your Majesty, there must be a misunderstanding. Guang heir wouldn't dare whether he has the audacity or not. Perhaps Imperial brother, you should have someone investigate further. Seated, Xiao Nani observed Consort Ming's panicked expression, speaking calmly. Hearing this, Consort Ming glared at Xiao Nani with a cold look, unable to counter, only gazing pleadingly at Emperor Qi Ming. I decree that Zhao Guang be thrown into the heavenly prison. Consort Ming, for disrespecting the Empress, is to be confined for 3 months. When mentioning Consort Ming, there was still a hint of softness in Emperor Qi Ming's eyes, as she had been his beloved for many years. Take her away. Your Majesty. Consort Ming, please leave. Seeing Consort Ming trying to reach for Emperor Qi Ming, Wang Kuan promptly intervened. Quickly, Consort Ming was dragged away by the eunuchs. Then, Emperor Qi Ming looked at the group of side consort on the ground. He couldn't bear to punish his beloved woman, but for these others, He had no such reservations. All of you, demoted to the rank of a mere concubine. If you don't learn your lesson, leave for the cold palace. Get lost. Hearing Emperor Qi Ming's words, the concubines wanted to cry, but one glance at his eyes silenced them, and they hurriedly left. In an instant, the entrance to the Kuan-Ning Palace was empty. Once everyone was gone, Emperor Qi Ming turned to the Empress and said, "Yan Ran, I'm sorry you had to go through this." Conspiring against the Empress was a grave crime, but he couldn't execute all of the side consort because they also served to balance the court's politics. The Empress wasn't surprised by the outcome. Hearing the Emperor's words, she softly replied, "Your Majesty, please don't say that. I don't feel wronged." "Your Majesty, you must be tired too. You should rest. One need to rest as well." "All right, then have a good rest." Saying this, Emperor Qi Ming started to leave. Seeing Xiao Nani still sitting there, he impatiently said, "Come here." Only then did Xiao Nani slowly stand up. "You talk with the Empress. I'll come to get you later." Jiang Peihuan nodded, and Xiao Nani left with Emperor Qi Ming. On their way to the Qianqing Palace, the Emperor's patience wore thin, and he tried to kick Xiao Nani. However, Xiao Nani was prepared and dodged. Almost stumbling, the Emperor was caught by Wang Kuan, his attendant. Han Feng, standing at the entrance, couldn't help but smirk at the scene. You dare to dodge? Imperial brother, why resort to violence? Also, you are not my match. Do you want to anger me to death? Why didn't you discuss Xiao Guang's matter privately? How can Meng Heir have any pride now? Meng Heir is side consort Meng's intimate name. Hearing this, a cold look flashed in Xiao Nani's eyes. Had I discussed it privately, would you have acted against Xiao Guang? You wouldn't have. Even if you did, you'd have let it slide after consort Meng pleaded a bit. Imperial brother, you must remember all these years, the one who managed the harem for you was the Empress. She was also the one by your side during tough times. I don't need reminders. One know how much the Empress means to me. It's good that Imperial brother knows. I'm afraid that Imperial brother has already forgotten about it. Go. Get out. Seeing you gives me a headache. Upon hearing Emperor Qi Ming's words, Xiao Nani departed from Qianqing Palace without looking back. Watching his receding figure, the anger that Emperor Qi Ming had just managed to suppress surged to his head again. Look at him. Does he still see me as his elder brother in his eyes? Although fury was evident in Emperor Qi Ming's eyes, the anger didn't seem to penetrate deep into his soul. Wang Kuan, standing beside, laughed and said, Your Majesty, King Cheng was raised by you. Though you are his elder brother, in his eyes, you are also like a father. He is simply taking advantage of the indulgence I've given him. But why does this young man hold such grudges? Your Majesty jests. King Cheng is known for his magnanimous heart. How could he bear grudges? You old fox, are you now lying to me too? Do you think I'm unaware? He's so protective of the Empress because she gave him some extra care when he was young. Chapter 334. Drunken Jiang Xijin. He despises Meng Heir so much just because when he was 4 years old, the cat raised by Meng Heir scratched him. One already had that bastard killed, and yet he still bears such a grudge. Hearing this, Wang Kuan remained silent. Others might not know, but he was aware that the initial reason the cat bit King Cheng was that consort Meng intentionally caused it. Kuan-Ning Palace. Regarding the events at Qianqing Hall, Jiang Peihuan was unaware. After settling the Empress down on the bed, Jiang Peihuan softly advised, Your Royal Majesty, you should no longer concern yourself with anything. You must prioritize the child in your womb. Huan Heir, after being poisoned this time, tell me the truth. Will it affect the child in my womb? There will be some effects, but since your Royal Majesty is still early in the pregnancy, the impact should be minimal. Though Jiang Peihuan constantly reassured her, the Empress' expression remained deeply worried. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan whispered, Your Royal Majesty, don't worry. Starting tomorrow, I'll come to the palace every day to check your pulse. Really? Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, the Empress' eyes filled with joy. But seeing Jiang Peihuan's pregnant belly, the Empress shook her head. This won't do. You're pregnant too. How can I let you travel back and forth daily? You needn't worry about me, Your Royal Majesty. I know my own body. If I feel unwell, one won't push myself. People are inherently selfish. Hearing this, the Empress nodded in agreement. Has Consort Meng wronged you? Hearing her voice, Xiaonani looked at her. Why do you ask? Just a guess. Hearing this, a smile emerged on Xiaonani's lips, yet it lacked warmth. Huan your intuition is right. Meeting Jiang Paihuan's puzzled gaze, Xiaonani whispered, when one was 4, Consort Meng had her black cat bite me. I was young and developed a high fever that very night. It was the imperial sister-in-law who stayed with me throughout. After the emperor learned of this, he had the black cat killed, but Consort Meng remained unharmed. No wonder. This was the first time Jiang Peihuan heard him speak of his childhood. She fell silent for a long while before softly responding. However, Xiaonani instinctively looked at Jiang Peihuan. Seeing no change in her eyes, he whispered, Huan don't you think I'm vengeful? Not at all. Because if it were me, I would do the same. Hearing her response, a trace of a smile appeared in Xiaonani's eyes. Elder sister, brother-in-law? As Xiaonani and Jiang Peihuan arrived at the general's mansion, they were greeted by Jiang Xijin and Jiang Songbai waiting at the entrance. Seeing them, Jiang Peihuan softly asked, Why are both of you waiting here? Of course, we were waiting for elder sister and brother-in-law. Moments later, Jiang Peihuan and Xiaonani headed to Jiang Xijin's courtyard. Upon their arrival, Jiang Changbai was packing things, and Lu Xian was also present. Sister Jiang Qingcheng. Seeing Jiang Peihuan and Xiaonani entering, Lu Xian immediately came forward to salute. Big brother, are you preparing to barbecue? Jiang Peihuan noticed the meat slices and charcoal fire nearby. Jiang Changbai was starting the fire. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, he said softly, It's because Xijin wanted to eat. This barbecued meat is not easy to digest, so I didn't invite our grandmother. Sister Jiang, please sit with His Highness. I'll be ready soon. Lu Xian was very efficient, bustling around behind Jiang Changbai. Seeing this, a smile flashed in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. Sister Xian let me help. Just as Jiang Xijin was about to step forward, she was pulled back by Jiang Songbai. What are you doing? Elder brother and cousin are getting along well. Why are you trying to intervene? Can't you see? Hearing Jiang Songbei's words, confusion filled Jiang Xijin's eyes. But the smile in Jiang Peihuan's eyes deepened. Shortly after, many barbecued meat slices were served. All of us siblings love spicy food. Are you okay with it? Sitting down, Jiang Peihuan turned to the man beside her. Hearing her words, Xiaonani laughed and said, Have you forgotten? One spent 2 years in the north. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan didn't respond. The north is always covered in snow. Almost everyone there eats spicy food to ward off the cold. Elder brother, how about we get some wine? After a few bites, Jiang Xijin grabbed Jiang Shangbai's sleeve. But he pulled his sleeve away. Don't even think about it. You can barely handle 3 cups of wine, yet you shout for it every day. If our parents hear about it, they'll scold me. People say you should drink with big bites of meat. Meat without wine is so dull. You're lucky to have meat. Stop talking nonsense. Just a little, elder brother, please. Jiang Xijin grabbed Jiang Shangbai's sleeve, gazing at him pleadingly. Impossible. Jiang Changbai shook off her hand, avoiding her gaze. Last time you got drunk, father scolded me for 2 hours. Did you defend me? Hearing this, guilt flashed in Jiang Xijin's eyes. Eldest sister? Don't look at me. Jiang Xijin began to speak, but Jiang Peihuan interrupted her. Brother-in-law. At this moment, Jiang Xijin blinked at Xiaonani. Just as Jiang Peihuan was about to speak, she heard Xiaonani say, If you want to drink, then drink. But don't overdo it. Brother-in-law, I declare from now on, you're my real brother-in-law. So am not your real brother-in-law now? Hearing Jiang Xijin's words, Xiaonani said somewhat irritably, Hee, now you're even closer. Since Xiaonani had agreed, neither Jiang Changbai nor Jiang Peihuan objected. But after a moment's thought, Jiang Changbai turned to Xiao Nani. When our parents smell the alcohol later, you'll have to admit it was your idea. At that moment, Xiao Nani didn't understand the implications of Jiang Shangbai's words. But 2 hours later he did. Watching Jiang Xijin wave her whip, Xiao Nani, with a headache, looked at Jiang Peihuan. Is she always like this after drinking? Today is actually one of her better days. Don't run, 111 kill you. As Jiang Peihuan finished speaking, Xiao Nani saw Jiang Xijin hug a tree in the courtyard. She drew her whip, relentlessly whipping the tree. But, be careful. Jiang Shangbai's reaction was fast, but still not quick enough. The whip Jiang Xijin had lashed on the tree recoiled and hit her own face. Chapter 335. Jiang Yan's miscarriage. Jiang Xijin immediately let out a painful scream. Seeing this scene, Xiao Nani's mouth twitched. After whipping herself, Jiang Xijin sobered up from her drunkenness. Jiang Peihuan sent for the doctor, which also alarmed Shui Yan. Upon seeing Shui Yan, Jiang Changbai immediately went to complain. Mother, this time it's not my fault. It was King Cheng, he allowed Xijin to drink. Hearing Jiang Shangbai's words, Xiao Nani glanced at him before turning to Shui Yan and saying, Mother, 1 a.m. to blame for this. I let her. It's not your fault. One know her temperament better than you do. Shui Yan interrupted him dismissively. Jiang Changbai, seeing this, expressed his frustration. Mother, how can you favor him so? When Xijin got drunk before, you didn't speak to me like this. Silence. Shui Yan scolded her son coldly. However, when she turned to Xiao Nani, her face showed its usual warmth. Your Highness, you and Huan Heir should return to the plum garden and rest. Leave this matter to us. However, when she turned to Xiao Nani, Shui Yan's face showed her usual gentleness. Your Highness, you and Huan Heir should go back to the plum garden to rest. You don't have to worry about the matters here. Yes. Nodding to Shui Yan, Xiao Nani left with Jiang Peihuan. 3 days later, the entire general's mansion was festively decorated, because it was the 6th birthday of the old Madame Jiang. In the chrysanthemum hall, Jiang Peihuan presented old Madame Jiang with a forehead cloth, then softly said, Grandmother, one wish you healthy and prosperity. Holding the cloth, old Madame Jiang smiled warmly. Now that you are pregnant, avoid needlework so as not to strain your eyes. Just being by my side is the best gift you can give me. Grandmother, wait until you see the gift I've prepared. You'll surely love it. After Jiang Ruyun presented her gift, Jiang Xijin eagerly presented hers. Hearing her voice, the old madam opened the box immediately. She laughed upon seeing its contents. You cheeky monkey, are you trying to treat your grandmother like a child? Look at this, urged the old madam, prompting everyone to peer inside the box. It contained a variety of amusing clay figures. Though they weren't of great value, they were delightful. Making grandmother happy is the most filial thing one can do, Jiang Xijin said. You all are wonderful. I love each gift, the old madam replied. Old madam, the Princess Qing has arrived. As the Jiang family laughed and chatted with the old madam, an elderly maid, Nanny Su, suddenly approached. Hearing Nanny's words, the smiles on everyone's faces faded. Why is she here? We didn't send an invitation to the Qing mansion. Old madam, one came uninvited. Please forgive me. As Jiang Xijin finished her sentence, Jiang Yan's voice came from the door. Supported by a maidservant, she entered the chrysanthemum hall. Other than Jiang Peihuan, everyone stood up and bowed to Jiang Yan. It is an honor for our Jiang mansion that the Princess Qing has come. Please have a seat, Princess Qing. Although they were unsure of Jiang Yan's intentions, old Madame Jiang still wore a full smile and spoke cordially to Jiang Yan. Bring forth the gift one prepared for old Madame Jiang. Jiang Yan's maid stepped forward with a box. Jiang Yan personally opened it, revealing a white jade guanyin statue inside. Old Madam, this white jade guanyin was specially acquired for you. I hope you like it. Thank you, Princess Qing. Yuzhen, take it. Grandmother, it's almost time. Let's head to the banquet. At this point, Jiang Peihuan, who was sitting next to the elderly Mrs. Jiang, spoke up. given her highest status among them. After Jiang Paihuan's words, Jiang Yan had no choice but to follow her out. The guests had all arrived, with Xiao Nani, Jiang Changbai, and Jiang Songbai greeting them. Originally, many were indifferent to the Jiang family, knowing that Jiang Hong had relinquished his military power. However, seeing Xiao Nanya's closeness to the Jiang family now changed many of their opinions. When Jiang Peihuan appeared, Xiao Nani immediately approached her. Yu Er stepped back 2 steps upon seeing Xiao Nani approaching. Subsequently, Xiao Nani reached out to hold Jiang Paihuan's hand. When Jiang Yan came out, hand in hand with her maid, she saw this scene. Seeing the undisguised tenderness in the man's eyes, Jiang Yan's gaze grew complicated. Princess Qing, please take your seat. While unsure of Jiang Yan's purpose for coming, guests are still guests, so Shuiyan arranged for her to take a seat at the top. Once the old madam sat down, dishes began to be served. Old Madam Jiang, may your happiness be as vast as the East Sea, and may your life be as long-lasting as the South Mountain. Everyone raised their wine glasses to toast Old Madam Jiang. Old Madam Jiang's eyes were filled with joy. I apologize for the inadequate hospitality today. Enjoy the meal. The dishes of the general mansion are truly unparalleled. Everyone laughed and chatted with Old Madam Jiang. At that moment, Jiang Yan also began to speak with a smile. Tasting the food from the Jiang mansion, it truly is. Before Jiang Yan could finish her sentence, she felt a sudden sharp pain in her abdomen. She immediately clutched her stomach. Princess Qing, what's wrong? Seeing this, Jiang Yan's maid hurried forward, and the faces of the Jiang family changed. Jiang Peihuan frowned. At that moment, Jiang Paihuan's first thought was that Jiang Yan was trying to frame them, but she dismissed that idea, thinking Jiang Yan wouldn't joke with the child of the Qiming emperor. Summon the doctor. Shuiyan immediately ordered. But it was too late. Seeing the maid trying to help Jiang Yan, Jiang Peihuan urgently said, "Don't touch her." Soon, Jiang Yan's dress was stained red. By the time the doctor arrived, he declared that Jiang Yan had miscarried. Hearing this news, a heavy mood overcame the Jiang mansion. Jiang Yan was also stunned. Quickly inform His Highness. Jiang Yan's maid spoke urgently. Upon receiving the news, Xiao Juanhao immediately rushed to the Jiang mansion. Entering the courtyard, Xiao Junhao's eyes first landed on Jiang Peihuan. Perhaps it was because of her pregnancy, but he felt she looked even more beautiful. Your Highness, the princess has miscarried. Hearing the maid's voice, Xiao Juanhao snapped back to the present, approaching Jiang Yan. Seeing her blood-stained dress, he frowned. What happened? Your Highness, the princess specifically came to congratulate old Madame Jiang on her birthday. However, after just a few bites, the princess miscarried. What nonsense are you talking about? Are you implying that my Jiang family caused her miscarriage? Chapter 336. The truth. Upon hearing the maid's words, Jiang Xijin said with eyes full of anger. However, at this moment, no one responded to Jiang Xijin. After all, the incident with Jiang Yan occurred in the Jiang mansion, and even if Xiao Juanhao was no longer favored, he was still a prince. There was no need to fawn over him, but it was also unnecessary to offend him. In the midst of silence, Xiao Juanhao spoke. Regardless, the princess had her incident at the Jiang mansion's banquet. She is the first of the emperor's grandchildren. Let's leave the matter for the emperor to decide. Upon hearing this, the faces of the Jiang family members showed displeasure, but they couldn't refute. After all, it concerned the imperial heir. Informing Emperor Qiming was only natural. However, when Jiang Yan was being helped up by her maid, Jiang Peihuan softly interrupted. Wait. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's voice, everyone turned their attention to her. In front of everyone, Jiang Peihuan addressed Jiang Yan. Princess Qing, may first check your pulse? Although she posed it as a question, Jiang Peihuan approached Jiang Yan. Before Jiang Yan could react, Jiang Peihuan had already grasped her wrist. The maid beside Jiang Yan, seeing this, stepped forward. Queen Cheng, my mistress is unwell, Before the maid could finish, she was knocked to the ground with a kick. The one who acted was Xiao Nani. Xiao Nani walked to Jiang Peihuan's side and coldly stared at the talking maid. Who do you think you are? Is it your turn to speak here? The maid fell, coughing up blood. She wanted to say something upon seeing Jiang Peihuan checking Jiang Yan's pulse, but upon seeing Xiao Nanya's cold demeanor, she dared not utter a word. Jiang Peihuan checked Jiang Yan's pulse meticulously. After a moment, she released Jiang Yan's hand. Subsequently, she approached old Madame Jiang and Jiang Hong. Father, please stay with grandmother. I'll handle this matter. All right. If there's anything, just send someone to inform me at home. Understood. After speaking to Jiang Hong, Jiang Peihuan gave Yi Xiao a glance. The latter immediately approached. Jiang Peihuan whispered a few words into Yi Xiao's ear. Whatever Jiang Peihuan said, Yi Xiao nodded gravely. My queen, rest assured, I'll have it thoroughly investigated. After everything was arranged, Jiang Peihuan finally said to Xiao Juanhao, let's go. Having said that, she didn't spare Xiao Juanhao another glance. Upon her rebirth, Jiang Peihuan wished nothing more than to end Xiao Junhao's life with a single stroke. However, at some point, it seemed she gradually let go of that idea. Now, she seemed more annoyed with Xiao Juanhao, and didn't want to see him as long as he didn't provoke her. Seeing her indifferent expression, Xiao Juanhao frowned. To him, Jiang Peihuan's gaze felt like she was looking at a stranger. Realizing that he was nothing more than a stranger to Jiang Peihuan made Xiao Junhao's heart heavy. He would rather see hatred in her eyes than such indifference. Xiao Nani accompanied Jiang Peihuan to the palace. Emperor Qi Ming had already received the news. Knowing that the child in Jiang Yan's womb was gone, his eyes were filled with rage. He stared at the newcomers and demanded, what happened? How could there be a miscarriage all of a sudden? While Emperor Qi Ming didn't care much for Jiang Yan, he was very concerned about the child in her womb. Imperial father Yan Er heard of old Madame Jiang's significant birthday celebration, and specifically went to offer blessings. But who would have thought that such an incident would occur during the banquet at the Jiang mansion? Imperial father, you must seek justice for your son. Hearing Emperor Qi Ming's voice, Xiao Juanhao spoke first. By the end of his statement, Xiao Junhao's eyes were filled with intense fury. Seeing this, Xiao Nani sneered from the side. Everyone heard Xiao Nanya's laughter, and Emperor Qi Ming glared at him with irritation. Emperor Qi Ming didn't look at Xiao Nani, but directly turned to Jiang Peihuan. Queen Cheng, what do you have to say about this? Imperial brother, as far as I know, the Jiang family neither sent an invitation to the Qing mansion nor specifically invited the Princess Qing. She appeared at the old madame's birthday banquet without an invitation, causing such a scene. It's made me wonder if the Princess Qing did this on purpose. Before Jiang Peihuan could speak, Xiao Nani interjected. Hearing Xiao Nani, Xiao Junhao's expression turned even more unsightly. Imperial uncle, your words are too malicious. How could the princess consort endanger her unborn child? She knew she was pregnant, so why didn't she stay at home? Why run around? Xiao Nani, with a cold look, interrupted Xiao Juanhao before he could finish. Emperor Qi Ming's eyes darkened further with anger at their bickering. He glared at both of them and said in a low voice, enough, both of you be silent. Seeing Emperor Qi Ming's anger, Xiao Juanhao promptly shut his mouth, but Xiao Nani continued. Imperial brother, in my opinion, the Princess Qing simply lacks blessings. This would have been your first. You shut up too, the emperor snapped at Xiao Nani. Xiao Nani finally closed his mouth. After shooting Xiao Nani a fierce glare, Emperor Qi Ming turned to Jiang Peihuan. Regardless, this happened at the Jiang mansion. What do you say? Please wait a moment, your majesty. Emperor Qi Ming looked puzzled at Jiang Peihuan's words. After a short while, the chief doctor of the Imperial Medical Institution entered the hall. Only then did Jiang Peihuan address the emperor. Your majesty, one had already examined the Princess Qing during the banquet. The reason for her miscarriage is the consumption of oleander powder. But there was no trace of oleander powder at the Jiang family's banquet. After one entered the palace, one had the chief doctor check the banquet. If your majesty doubts my words, you can listen to the chief doctor. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, surprise flashed in Emperor Qi Ming's eyes. He turned to the chief doctor and asked, tell me what happened. Your majesty, as Queen Cheng stated, Princess Qing indeed consumed oleander powder. When one checked all the dishes the Princess Qing had eaten at the Jiang mansion, none contained oleander. Moreover, one examined all utensils from the banquet and found no issues. Chapter 337. Reprimand. So, the princess consort intentionally went to the general's mansion, trying to frame someone? As soon as the chief doctor finished speaking, Xiao Juanhao immediately responded. Hearing this, Xiao Juanhao quickly knelt before Emperor Qi Ming. Imperial father, there's absolutely no truth to this. Enough. Before Xiao Juanhao could say anything further, Emperor Qi Ming rebuked with a cold glare. You couldn't even protect a child. Indeed, it seems you lack fortune. Enough, go back. Before a child is born, do not inform me, so as to avoid false hopes. It's all my fault. I beg your forgiveness, Imperial Father. Alright, go now. At this moment, as Emperor Qi Ming looked at Xiao Juanhao kneeling before him, he felt a sense of annoyance. And Xiao Juanhao, sensing the emperor's displeasure, tightly clenched his fists. However, he still respectfully paid his respects before leaving. After Xiao Juanhao left, Xiao Nani spoke to Emperor Qi Ming. Imperial brother, if there's nothing else, we'll be on our way. With that, Xiao Nani, holding on to Jiang Paihuan's hand, began to walk out. However, as they approached the main hall's entrance, Emperor Qi Ming's voice echoed, "Stop." Upon hearing this, both Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan halted. Does Imperial brother need something? Xiao Nani turned around to face Emperor Qi Ming and casually inquired. Seeing his demeanor, Emperor Qi Ming remarked with annoyance. How much longer do you plan to stay at the Jiang mansion? Do you intend to be their son-in-law? If you approve, Imperial brother, I would be more than happy. You just be silent. Fine, just go. If there's nothing, do not appear before me again. Let's go, Huan Heir. Hearing Emperor Qi Ming's words, Xiao Nani, without even offering a courtesy, pulled Jiang Peihuan to leave. She, on the other hand, gave a respectful nod before following him out. After exiting the Qianqing Palace, the couple didn't immediately leave the Imperial Palace, but headed to the Running Palace. In the past few days, Jiang Peihuan had regularly visited the Empress for medical examinations, so the people in Running Palace had grown accustomed to her visits. Seeing the couple enter, the Empress maid greeted them with a smile. Queen and Ring Cheng have arrived. Please sit down. I'll prepare the milk that the Queen likes. There's no need to trouble yourself, Nanny. I'll just check on the Empress, and then we'll be on our way. It's no bother at all. Please have a seat, Queen Cheng. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan chose not to decline. Although the Empress was pregnant, she still had to manage palace affairs. After Jiang Peihuan had a drink, she saw the Empress, supported by a maid, enter the room. As Jiang Peihuan was about to bow, she heard the Empress' voice. It said that you are pregnant now, no need for formalities. After Jiang Peihuan sat down, the Empress asked, I heard that Princess Qing had a miscarriage at the Jiang mansion. What happened? I'm not entirely sure about the details. After briefly explaining the circumstances of Jiang Yan's miscarriage, Jiang Peihuan spoke softly. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, the Empress frowned. This Princess Qing, she's too. The Empress wanted to say useless, but recalling her past experiences, she chose not to. Your Royal Majesty, allow me to check your pulse. At this point, Jiang Peihuan softly spoke. The Empress didn't say anything more, and offered her hand to Jiang Peihuan. Though she checked the Empress' pulse daily, Jiang Peihuan was always meticulous with each examination. Upon gripping the Empress' pulse, Jiang Peihuan frowned. Afterwards, she took a careful sniff. Huan Heir, is there something wrong with the child in my womb? Seeing Jiang Peihuan's frown, the Empress grew anxious. Jiang Peihuan sniffed again, then softly said, Your Royal Majesty, I detect a faint scent of sandalwood on you. Have you been paying respects to Buddha recently? What's more significant is that within the sandalwood aroma, there was a faint scent of musk. Though subtle, Jiang Peihuan noticed it. I haven't been worshipping. Regarding your sandalwood scent, I visited the great Empress Dowager this morning to greet her. One must have acquired the fragrance from her chamber. Realizing something, The empress stopped speaking abruptly. The empress didn't say anything more, but gave a look to her maid. All of you leave. Seeing the empress' expression, the nanny quickly gave the order to the surrounding attendants. Once all the maids and eunuchs had left, the empress, with a grave expression, turned to Jiang Peihuan. Huan heir, is there something wrong with this scent? This sandalwood has a hint of musk. How could that be? Jiang Peihuan's voice was soft, but it clearly reached the empress' ears. Upon hearing her words, the empress' face turned pale. By her side, Xiao Nani, upon hearing the conversation, also showed an uneasy look. The empress was full of confusion but, being the queen, she couldn't accuse the great empress dowager of wrongdoing. She looked anxiously at Jiang Peihuan and asked, Huan heir, will this affect the child in my womb? As you weren't there long, the effect is minimal. However, if you frequently visit and are exposed to it for extended periods, it could harm the child. The empress turned even paler upon hearing this. After a long silence, the empress said to Jiang Peihuan, reap this matter to yourself to avoid trouble. Upon hearing the empress' words, Jiang Peihuan paused for a moment before replying softly, Your Royal Majesty, don't worry. 111 protect both you and the child in your womb. I'll return home now and come back tomorrow to check on you. Take care on your journey. Nani, take good care of Huan heir. Don't worry, imperial sister-in-law. Xiao Nani nodded at the empress and left Running Palace with Jiang Peihuan. Once outside the palace gate, Jiang Peihuan asked the man beside her, Why would the great empress dowager harm the empress? She's not targeting the empress. It's you. Me. Hearing Xiao Nani's words, confusion appeared in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. A moment later, a cold smile curled her lips. The great empress dowager really went to great lengths. Indeed, the entire palace knew she visited daily to check on the empress. If something happened to the empress child, even if she did her best, the empress might still resent her. The emperor, who was already somewhat dissatisfied with her, would likely blame her and possibly her entire Jiang family if something happened to the child. Realizing the implications, Jiang Peihuan suddenly regretted her decision. She shouldn't have agreed to check on the empress due to a momentary soft-heartedness. Chapter 338. Calling for help. Seeing Jiang Peihuan's face change constantly, Xiao Nani immediately reached out to protect the person beside him. With a gentle pat on Jiang Peihuan's back, Xiao Nani whispered, Huan heir, it's all because of me that you face so many intrigues. There was a hint of guilt in his voice. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan found solace, leaning into his embrace. She softly replied, Xiao Nani, from the moment one agreed to marry you, we became one. I know. After a long silence, Jiang Peihuan heard his voice again. For a while neither spoke. The carriage proceeded in the direction of the general's mansion. As they approached the general's mansion, Jiang Peihuan suddenly recalled what Emperor Qi Ming had said. She whispered to the man beside her, Shall we return to the Cheng's mansion tomorrow? Upon hearing her words, Xiao Nani paused for a moment. After a few seconds he smiled and replied, Let's discuss it later. I'd like to stay at the general's mansion a bit longer. Just as Jiang Peihuan was about to reply, a crying voice reached her ears. The cry was piercing, yet somewhat familiar. Who is that? Pulling aside the curtain, Jiang Peihuan saw a maid crying out for help at the entrance of the general's mansion. Seeing this scene, she frowned, because many passers-by were now staring at them. My queen, that's the maid of Miss Cousin. It took Jiang Peihuan a while to realize that the Miss Cousin, referred to by the gatekeeper, was Shui Ru. At that moment, Shui Ru's maid spotted Jiang Peihuan stepping down from the carriage. The maid rushed over, trying to grab Jiang Peihuan's sleeve, but was stopped by Xiao Nani. Why aren't you serving your mistress at the Prince Qing mansion? Why are you here? Jiang Peihuan asked in a low voice. Miss Jiang, please save my young mistress. What happened to your mistress? Before the maid could finish, Jiang Peihuan interrupted her. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's inquiry, the maid hastily replied, The people in the mansion say the princess consort miscarried due to poison given by my mistress. They found poison in her room. The prince wants to punish her severely. Miss asked me to beg you for help. Please save her. From the maid's account, Jiang Peihuan understood the situation. However, Jiang Peihuan remained silent, then turned towards the gatekeeper, calmly saying, "Inform mother about this." Yes. Although Jiang Peihuan didn't want to involve herself with Shuiru's matters, she still felt obligated as Shuiru was part of the Shui family. Thus, she sent someone to notify Shui Yan. Shui Yan arrived swiftly, but upon seeing the kneeling maid, she simply stated, "Go back and tell your mistress that her matters have nothing to do with the Shui family or me anymore. Whether she lives or dies, it's her concern." "Madam, she's still your niece. How can you be so heartless?" "Shut up." Hearing a mere maid accusing her mother, Jiang Peihuan's eyes flashed with cold anger. Yet, Shuiyan seemed completely unfazed. Without even glancing at the maid, Shuiyan looked towards Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani with a smile. "Huan heir, you're now pregnant. Don't stand at the door for too long. Come in with King Cheng." "Yes." Hearing Shuiyan's words, Jiang Peihuan nodded. Xiao Nani took Jiang Peihuan's hand directly and the two walked in. However, as they passed by the maid, Xiao Nani looked straight at Han Feng. "Send this maid to the Prince Qing's mansion, and relay the response from Madame Shui to Xiao Juanhao." "Yes." Upon hearing Xiao Nani's words, Han Feng immediately grabbed the maid. At the Prince Qing's mansion, Shuiru was pinned to a wooden stool by servants, her body beaten and bruised. Xiao Juanhao sat nearby, watching indifferently. Lin Mingyao sat beside Xiao Juanhao. Witnessing the scene, her eyes revealed complex emotions. At that moment, footsteps echoed. Hearing the sound, Shuiru, who had shown no reaction thus far, looked up with hope. Seeing Han Feng leading her maid in, Shuiru's eyes filled with surprise, but the words of Han Feng caused her delight to vanish instantly. "Prince Qing, my master instructed me to relay that from now on, any matters concerning secondary consort Shui have nothing to do with the Shui family or the general's mansion." Having said this, Han Feng left without giving Xiao Juanhao a second glance. Xiao Juanhao watched Han Feng's retreating figure with a dark expression. Shuiru, lying on the stool, glared with hatred in her eyes. "You heard it. The general mansion doesn't care about your life or death at all." Only then did Xiao Juanhao look at Shuiru. Upon hearing Xiao Juanhao, Shuiru quickly spoke. "Your Highness, this matter has nothing to do with me. The child in the princess' womb wasn't harmed by me. It wasn't. Do it." Before Shuiru could finish her words, Xiao Juanhao interrupted. At the fall of Xiao Junhao's command, a soldier nearby raised his hand, ready to strike. Seeing this, Shuiru shivered with fear. She pleaded continuously, "Your Highness, please spare me." Regardless of her cries, Xiao Juanhao remained emotionless. He had initially been with Shuiru, due to the connection between the Shui and Jiang families. He hadn't expected the Shui family to be indifferent to her fate. His gaze upon Shuiru was not only devoid of warmth but also held a trace of hatred, as if he were looking at garbage. Shuiru wanted to speak again but couldn't utter a word upon seeing Xiao Junhao's cold eyes. She regretted marrying this man, but her regrets were in vain. Realizing this, she laughed, though tears streamed from her eyes. Hearing her laughter, both Xiao Juanhao and Lin Mingyao appeared puzzled, but neither spoke. But as Shuiru closed her eyes, a soft voice called out, "Stop." It was Jiang Yan. Jiang Yan approached with the maid and greeted Xiao Juanhao. "Greetings, Your Highness." "Greetings, Princess Consort." Seeing Jiang Yan, Lin Mingyao also stood and greeted her. "Why are you here?" Xiao Juanhao asked indifferently. Seemingly oblivious to his coldness, Jiang Yan spoke. "Your Highness, please spare secondary consort Shui." Before anyone else could speak, Jiang Yan continued. "After all, secondary consort Shui is a daughter of the Shui family. Even if they don't acknowledge her, killing her would be frowned upon. If the emperor hears of this, it might not reflect well on you." Chapter 339. Hatred. Then what does princess consort mean? Upon hearing Jiang Yan's words, Xiao Juanhao spoke faintly. Meeting Xiao Junhao's gaze, Jiang Yan whispered, "My intention is let's put this matter to rest." Secondary consort Xue has already learned her lesson. Facing Xiao Junhao's look, Jiang Yan remained unyielding. After a long while, Xiao Juanhao finally said to Jiang Yan, "Since the princess consort pleads, then let this matter end here." Having said that, Xiao Juanhao immediately stood up and left without glancing at anyone. As Xiao Juanhao left, Lin Mengyao also stood up. After bowing to Jiang Yan, she softly said, "One will take my leave now." Upon finishing her words, Lin Mengyao was about to leave when Jiang Yan's voice came from behind. "Wait a moment." Hearing Jiang Yan's voice, Lin Mengyao stopped in her tracks and turned her head to look at Jiang Yan. "Is there anything else the princess consort requires? It seems you've never taken my words to heart." A hint of a smile curled up at the corner of Jiang Yan's mouth, but it was devoid of warmth, and her eyes were equally cold. Facing Jiang Yan's expression, Lin Mengyao was momentarily stunned, then whispered, "I don't understand what you are implying." "Heh." Hearing this, Jiang Yan chuckled lightly, her smile dripping with sarcasm. A moment later, Jiang Yan coldly said, "If you don't know, then forget it. Leave." After bowing to Jiang Yan, Lin Mengyao left immediately. Watching her retreating figure, Jiang Yan's eyes were filled with gloom. Only when Lin Menjiao's silhouette disappeared around the corner did Jiang Yan look at Xue Ru, who was sitting on the chair. Xue Ru was on the verge of fainting, but upon seeing Jiang Yan approaching, she anxiously said, "Princess consort, I did not harm the child in your womb. This has nothing to do with me." "I know." Jiang Yan interrupted her without waiting for Xue Ru to finish. A couple of seconds later, Xue Ru looked at Jiang Yan in disbelief. "You knew?" Facing Xue Ru's incredulous look, Jiang Yan said sarcastically, "Otherwise, why do you think one would save you?" Hearing Jiang Yan's words, Xue Ru fell silent for a long time before whispering, "If it wasn't me, then who harmed the child in your womb? There are only 3 of us in the Qing mansion. Naturally, I wouldn't harm my own child, and it's not you either. Who else do you think it could be?" Jiang Yan's eyes were filled with undisguised gloom as she spoke the last sentence. Although Xue Ru wasn't very clever, she wasn't dumb either. Upon hearing Jiang Yan's words, she blurted out, "It's Lin Mengyao." Xue Ru spoke with certainty. Jiang Yan remained silent upon hearing this. But silence was the best answer. Seeing Jiang Yan's silence, Xue Ru's eyes were filled with resentment. She coldly said to Jiang Yan, "Since the Yu knows that the person who killed the child in your womb is Lin Mengyao, why didn't you tell the prince? Even if I told him, what would it change? Do you have evidence? Even if the prince knew, would he punish her?" Before Xue Ru could say anything, Jiang Yan interrupted. Hearing this, Xue Ru's already upset expression darkened even further. After a long while, she looked at Jiang Yan and said, "What does you want me to do? I don't believe that you would save me without reason. Even if the enemy of an enemy is a friend, it's still based on beneficial value. So, what does the princess consort want from me? It seems that after this incident you've become much smarter." Upon hearing Jiang Yan's words, Xue Ru remained silent. If she once had a glimmer of hope when she first married into the Qing mansion, then after these events, she had no expectations of Xiao Juanhao anymore. At this moment, Xue Ru finally realized one thing. Xiao Juanhao truly didn't love her. But even so, she no longer had any way out. Seeing Xue Ru's silence, Jiang Yan spoke softly, "You're right, one did save you for my own selfish reasons." After saying that, Jiang Yan bent down and whispered a few words into Xue Ru's ear. Xue Ru's eyes were full of surprise at what Jiang Yan told her, but then they filled with delight. She looked at Jiang Yan, her eyes filled with hatred, and said, "Don't worry, even if you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have spared them. You should focus on recovering from your injuries first. We can discuss these matters after you've healed. Send secondary consort Xue back to recuperate. Anything she needs can be taken from my quarters." "Thank you, Your Highness." Upon hearing Jiang Yan's words, Xue Ru's maid quickly expressed her gratitude. As for the events occurring in the Prince Qing mansion, Jiang Peihuan was completely unaware. Initially, Jiang Peihuan had planned to return to the Cheng mansion, but Xiao Nani insisted on staying at the general's mansion. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan didn't say anything more. The Jiang family, on the other hand, was quite pleased. Without realizing, 3 months had passed since Jiang Peihuan had been pregnant. In the plum garden, Jiang Peihuan was playing chess with Xiao Nani when they saw Lu Er rush in looking annoyed. Seeing her demeanor, Jiang Peihuan raised an eyebrow. What happened? Who upset you this time? It's that young lady from the Xue family. Xueru. Ever since Xuerus maid came to the general's mansion for help, Jiang Peihuan hadn't heard from Xueru for a long time. Suddenly hearing Lu Er mention her, Jiang Peihuan was momentarily caught off guard. What happened to her? She came to our mansion and stood at the gate crying. From her appearance, those in the know understood she owed us, but others might think we did something wrong to her. The more Lu Er spoke, the angrier she looked. Upon hearing this, Jiang Peihuan couldn't help but frown. She didn't like Xueru, but she knew her personality. Xueru was vain and cared a lot about her reputation. Making a public scene like this was unlike her. Where is my mother? Has someone informed her about this? The eldest young master said not to bother the madam with such trivial matters. Just as she was about to speak, she saw Yu Er approaching. Just as he was about to speak, he saw Yu Er walking over. Greetings, Your Highness, greetings, my queen. Get up. After Yu Er paid her respects to Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani, she turned to Jiang Peihuan and said, My queen, the madam wishes to see you. Did my mother mention what it's about? Upon hearing Yu Er's words, Jiang Peihuan put down her chess piece. It seems to be about young lady Xue. Chapter 340, Xueru's gift. Did mother say why she wanted to see me? First, madam didn't specify. She just asked for you. I see. Nodding, Jiang Peihuan got up from her seat. Seeing this, Xiao Nani immediately stepped forward to support Jiang Peihuan's hand. Seeing the man's careful actions, a hint of amusement appeared in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. 3 months later, Jiang Peihuan's belly began to show signs of her pregnancy. While Jiang Peihuan herself didn't feel particularly burdened, Xiao Nani was constantly by her side, save for when the emperor summoned him. At first, everyone was astonished by this, but as time went on, everyone got used to it. How do you feel today? When Shui Yan saw Xiao Nani assisting Jiang Peihuan into the main hall, she immediately approached and whispered her inquiry. Just like any other day. No reactions, replied Jiang Peihuan. That's good to hear. Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Shui Yan let out a sigh of relief. A few days prior, Jiang Peihuan had bouts of morning sickness which worried everyone. Old Madame Jiang was particularly distressed, praying continuously for her well-being. After a few days of self-care, Jiang Peihuan no longer felt nauseous. Not only did she stop vomiting, but her appetite had also greatly improved, much to everyone's relief. Your Highness, you've worked hard taking care of Huan Er during this period, said Shui Yan as she turned her attention to Xiao Nani. After taking a seat next to Jiang Peihuan, Xiao Nani replied with a smile. The child in Huan Er's womb is my flesh and blood. I can't bear the pains of pregnancy for her, so the least one can do is take good care of her. It's my duty. Hearing this, Shui Yan's smile deepened. Aunt. At that moment, Xueru entered, leaning on her maid's arm for support. Hearing Xueru's voice, the smile on Shui Yan's face disappeared instantly. Huan Er Qingcheng. Xueru walked up to Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani and bowed respectfully. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan's eyes were filled with confusion. Then a cold glint appeared in her eyes. What brings the secondary consort Xue to our mansion today? Turning her gaze to Xueru, Shui Yan asked directly, Aunt, must you treat me so distantly? With that, Xueru immediately knelt before Shui Yan. Watching this, Shui Yan's face displayed confusion. What are you doing? Help the secondary consort Xue up, Shui Yan commanded the maid. But Xueru pushed her maid away, then looked at Shui Yan with tearful eyes. Aunt, everything that happened before was my fault. One was deluded into wanting to marry Prince Qing. It was all my mistake. I've realized my mistakes, and I came here today to sincerely apologize to you, Aunt. As long as you forgive me, you can punish me in any way you see fit, and one won't complain. Hearing Shui-ru's words, Shui-yan's eyes reflected a mix of confusion and uncertainty. Seeing Shui-ru's tearful regret, Shui-yan's expression grew more complex. After a moment of silence, she finally said to Shui-ru, "If you knew you'd feel this way now, why did you make that choice in the first place? Even if you regret it now, it's too late. I know one can't make up for my mistakes, but Auntie, Ru'er only has you as her kin in this capital. Grandmother and the rest won't forgive me. Auntie, one beg you, please forgive Ru'er. Let me have a place to go in the capital. You should know, even if you regret certain things, they can't be undone." Shui-yan remained unmoved by Shui-ru's pleas. She hadn't forgotten how Shui-ru had placed that letter in Jiang Hong's study. Seeing that Shui-yan was unyielding, a hint of coldness flashed in Shui-ru's eyes. But when she looked up at Shui-yan, her face was filled with guilt. "I know I wronged you, Auntie. If that's the case, 111 atone with my death." Saying this, Shui-ru dashed towards a nearby pillar. "Yishao." As Jiang Peihuan saw Shui-ru's actions, she spoke softly. Yishao, standing behind Jiang Peihuan, immediately stepped forward upon hearing her. Even though Yishao acted quickly, Shui-ru's head still hit the pillar, bleeding profusely in an instant. Witnessing this, Jiang Peihuan's eyes flickered. "Go get the doctor." Seeing the injury on Shui-ru's head, Shui-yan urgently called out. As the maid went to fetch the doctor, Shui-yan frowned at Shui-ru. "What are you doing?" "Auntie, one truly know my wrongs. Please forgive me. Otherwise, I truly have no other way but death." "What do you mean by that?" Shui-yan was known to be compassionate and not harsh. If Shui-ru continued her self-harming acts, Shui-yan wouldn't care. But now, hearing Shui-ru's sincere apologies, Shui-yan couldn't help but ask. "The prince found oleander powder at my residence. He claimed I killed the child in the prince's consort womb. He almost had me beaten to death." After briefly explaining the events at the Prince Qing mansion, Shui-ru continued, "Auntie, please allow me to come and go in the general's mansion. Give Ru'er a chance to live." Hearing this, Shui-yan's brow furrowed. In the end, Shui-yan spoke softly. "In the future, if you wish to visit, come to my Yanlin for a while." "Thank you, Aunt." Upon hearing Shui-yan's concession, Shui-ru's eyes were filled with elation. "That's enough, have someone tend to your wound." "Yes, I'll listen to Aunt." Shui-ru stood up, respectfully bowed to Shui-yan. But as she turned to leave the main hall, her respectful demeanor vanished, replaced by a dark look. After Shui-ru left, Shui-yan looked at Jiang Peihuan, with a hint of guilt in her eyes. "Huan Er about this." "Mother, you don't need to say more, I understand." Before Shui-yan could finish, Jiang Peihuan gently interrupted. As for Shui-ru, Jiang Peihuan had already treated her as a stranger. For Shui-yan's sake, Jiang Peihuan wouldn't do anything to Shui-ru. But that's where it ended. After a brief conversation with Shui-yan, Jiang Peihuan left Yanlin. As she left Yanlin, Jiang Peihuan immediately said to Yishao, "Whenever Shui-ru comes to the general's mansion, keep a close eye on her." "Yes. Huan Er, you don't need to worry about her. If you're concerned she'll cause more trouble, we'll just have Han Feng kill her." Xiao Nani, who was nearby, spoke upon seeing Jiang Peihuan's furrowed brow. Hearing his words, a hint of helplessness appeared in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. If we simply kill her like that, wouldn't it cause more trouble? Chapter 341. Nightmare. I don't care about Shui-ru, but I can't ignore my mother's feelings. Alright, as you wish. Let's not bother with irrelevant people. Jiang Peihuan did not want to see Shui-yan sad, so she tried to ignore Shui-ru's existence. However, the events that followed made her deeply regret not taking Xiao Nanya's advice and getting rid of Shui-ru directly. Shui-yan allowed Shui-ru to come to the general's mansion and spend some time in Yanlin. But after that, Shui-ru came every day. Yet she would just sit for a while and then leave doing nothing. Although the people of the general's mansion were annoyed by her, they said nothing. After a while, Shui-ru began to visit Jiang Peihuan's plum garden. Today she came again. Jiang Peihuan had just woken up when she heard her servant Yu Er announce, "Your Highness, the young lady from the Shui family has come again." Tell her I haven't woken up yet, and send her away. In front of Shui Yan, Jiang Peihuan felt constrained, but when alone, she really didn't want to deal with Shui. Yes. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's instructions, Yu Er went out. As Lu Er attended to her, Jiang Peihuan began to have her meal. Lately, she often woke up late in the morning. Where is Nani? Jiang Peihuan had gotten used to Xiao Nani being around her every day. Waking up and not seeing his familiar figure, she felt a bit uneasy. Handing the utensils to Jiang Peihuan, Lu Er whispered. Someone from the palace came, saying the emperor has summoned his highness. My queen. As Lu Er finished speaking, Yu Er walked in. Seeing what she was holding, Jiang Peihuan looked puzzled. What is this? This is a gift from the young lady for the young prince in your belly. As she spoke, Yu Er placed the items on the table. Jiang Peihuan glanced and saw baby clothes and collars. Call Yi Xiao over. My queen, you called for me? Just as Jiang Peihuan finished speaking, Yi Xiao entered. Seeing her, Jiang Peihuan pointed at the items on the table. Check these. Yes. Yi Xiao carefully inspected everything and finally reported. Your Highness, there's nothing wrong with these items. Although Shui had been sincere lately, Jiang Peihuan still didn't trust that someone like her could truly change. But now, hearing Yi Xiao's words, she felt even more puzzled. Not understanding, she decided not to ponder it further. She instructed Yu Er. Put these things in the storeroom. Yes. In the following days, Shui frequently visited the plum garden, looking for Jiang Peihuan. But Jiang Peihuan never met her. Shui didn't seem to mind and would bring gifts every time. All of them children's items. After Yi Xiao inspected them several times and found nothing amiss, Lu Er sent them straight to the storeroom. Yes. In the next few days, Shui often came to the plum garden to look for Jian Peihuan. However, Jian Peihuan had never seen Shui once. The latter did not mind. Every time she came, she would prepare some gifts, which were all children's tools. After Yi Xiao checked it a few times and there was no problem with the items, Lu Er directly sent the items to the storeroom. At night, plum garden. Jiang Peihuan on the bed had her brows furrowed, sweat covering her forehead. Jiang Peihuan, your father is dead, your Jiang family has been annihilated, and your two younger sisters have been given to the soldiers. As for you, in her dream, Jiang Peihuan was back in her previous life. She witnessed the devastation of the Jiang family, saw Jiang Songbai die tragically, saw Jiang Xijin die horribly, and finally, she saw Lu Xiu, who wasn't skilled in martial arts, raising a long sword. Seeing this scene, Jiang Peihuan couldn't hold back any longer and screamed, No! Huan Er! Familiar voices kept calling out to her. Jiang Peihuan opened her eyes. Upon opening her eyes, she saw Xiao Nani looking at her with deep concern. The man, seeing Jiang Peihuan drenched in sweat, anxiously asked, Huan Er, what happened? Did you have a nightmare? Was it a dream? But the images felt incredibly real. Jiang Peihuan tried to speak, but her throat felt dry. Don't speak, you'll get water. Before she could respond, she heard the man's voice. Xiao Nani got out of bed, went to the table, and quickly brought a cup of water to Jiang Peihuan's lips. With his assistance, Jiang Peihuan drank all the tea. After the drink, she felt much better. I'm fine. Looking at Xiao Nani, Jiang Peihuan whispered. Xiao Nani touched her forehead, ensuring she was of normal temperature. Then he let go. I'll get you some dry clothes. Jiang Peihuan, soaked in cold sweat, nodded in agreement. Moments later, she was dressed in clean garments. Sleep now. After placing the damp clothes aside, Xiao Nani held her gently, careful of her belly. Smelling the cool scent of the man, Jiang Peihuan quickly drifted off to sleep. However, about an hour later, she was startled awake again. The same dream, the same scene, the same outcome. When Jiang Peihuan woke up the second time, she felt drained of all her energy. Xiao Nani woke up instantly when Jiang Peihuan started to struggle. Seeing her restless movements, he held her tight and softly called, Huan Er. Jiang Peihuan slowly opened her eyes. But they were bloodshot. Seeing this, Xiao Nani frowned. Is someone there? He softly called out to the door. Your Highness. Xiao Nani had barely spoken when Yi Xiao's voice came from outside. Come in. Upon hearing the man's voice, Yi Xiao gently opened the door and stepped inside. She walked forward 2 steps without looking at the people on the bed. Your Highness, how may first assist you? Check the pulse for the queen. Is the Queen Cheng feeling unwell? Concerned for Jiang Peihuan, Yi Xiao quickly approached the bed and began to examine her pulse. After a thorough check, she frowned. How is she? Your Highness, there seems to be nothing wrong with the Queen's health. Then why is she constantly having nightmares? Upon hearing this, surprise flashed in Yi Xiao's eyes. After a moment of silence, she whispered, I cannot determine the reason. Leave. Coldness flashed in Xiao Nanya's eyes. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan grabbed his hand and whispered, I'm fine, maybe one just didn't sleep well. Yi Xiao, you may leave. Yes. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Yi Xiao bowed and left the room. That night, Jiang Peihuan didn't sleep. In another room of the Prince Qing mansion, Jiang Yan also stayed awake all night. How is it? Looking at the old man in the room, Jiang Yan whispered. Chapter 342. Encountering another broken thought, the old man tossed the talisman into the fire and stood up. He looked at Jiang Yan and said, Your Highness, it worked. Really? Hearing the old man's words, Jiang Yan's eyes were filled with excitement. The old man nodded and said confidently, Your Highness, rest assured. This curse is a secret technique from Jiangzhou. It will not fail. What will happen to her? The her Jiang Yan referred to was the cursed person. After a moment of silence, the old man said in a low voice, At first she will suffer continuous nightmares. After a few days she will be exhausted. Within half a month, she will undoubtedly die. I leave this matter in your hands. If it succeeds, one will reward you generously. My life was saved by the prince. Now that he's gone, my life belongs to you, princess consort. I will serve you loyally. As Jiang Yan left the room, her eyes were filled with mixed emotions. She didn't want to harm Jiang Peihuan, but recalling the scene she had witnessed, she couldn't hold back. Especially when she thought of the name Xiao Juanhao always whispered in her ear. She couldn't bear it any longer. The one she valued only had eyes for Jiang Peihuan. The one she valued most. The man she married also had only her in his heart. Therefore, she could no longer tolerate the presence of Jiang Peihuan. Jiang Peihuan, however, was completely unaware of these events in the Prince Qing mansion. The night before she went to sleep, Jiang Peihuan drank some calming medicine. But she still woke up in fear multiple times during the night. It's okay, Huan Er. When Jiang Peihuan was startled awake for the 3rd time, Xiao Nani didn't sleep anymore. He held her tightly, waking her up whenever she began to struggle in his embrace. Everyone in the plum garden knew about Jiang Peihuan's recurring nightmares, but they felt helpless. By the time Shui Yan heard the news, 3 days had already passed. Shui Yan hurriedly entered the plum garden, followed by Lu Xiao. Mother, 3rd aunt, why are you here? Jiang Peihuan, sitting on a couch, quickly stood up when she saw them. But Lu Xiao supported her. It's all right. You're not feeling well. Don't exert yourself. Just rest. It's just a nightmare. There's no need to alarm you. Seeing the worried expressions in Shui Yan and Lu Xiao's eyes, Jiang Peihuan said with a smile, Look at yourself, your complexion is terrible. Huan Huan. As Shui Yan spoke, Zhou Rongfang walked into the plum garden. Seeing her, Jiang Peihuan didn't get up but softly called out, 2nd aunt. Ever since Zhou Rongfang took care of Jianmai's son, she rarely left her yard. At first, taking care of Jianmai's son was the wish of the old madam, and Zhou Rongfang did so merely for appearances. But after some time, she grew genuinely fond of the child. So seeing Zhou Rongfang in front of her now, Jiang Peihuan was genuinely surprised. Looking at Zhou Rongfang, Jiang Peihuan softly asked, 2nd aunt, aren't you busy taking care of my younger brother? How do you have time to visit me? I heard you've been having nightmares these past few days. I couldn't sit still, so one came to see you. I'm all right, thank you for your concern, 2nd aunt. Seeing the concern in Zhou Rongfang's eyes, Jiang Peihuan's demeanor softened a bit. At this point, Zhou Rongfang turned to Shui Yan and suggested, "Elder sister-in-law, why not take Huan Heir to Kaiyuan Temple to pray and offer incense? To ask the Bodhisattva to bless Huan Heir?" Shui Yan had always avoided Zhou Rongfang, but hearing this, she nodded in rare agreement. What second sister-in-law suggests makes sense. It's a good idea. Considering elder sister-in-law has matters in the mansion to attend to, and second sister-in-law is busy taking care of the child, how about I accompany Huan Heir to Kaiyuan Temple? Lu Xiu proposed this to Shui Yan. Upon hearing this, Shui Yan nodded. Third sister-in-law, then he'll have to trouble you. No need to trouble third aunt. I'll accompany Huan Heir, said a voice at the entrance, and Xiao Nani stepped in. Seeing him, surprise flashed in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. Walking to his side, she whispered, "Didn't you say the emperor had matters to discuss with you? How did you return so quickly?" "I was worried about you, so I came back." With that, Xiao Nani addressed the three women present. "Mother, 2 aunts, I'll accompany Huan Heir to Kaiyuan Temple. After lunch, we'll set off." After pondering Xiao Nanya's suggestion, Shui Yan quietly agreed. "If you're going to offer incense, why not stay a night at Kaiyuan Temple?" Xiao Nani nodded in response. "Mother's suggestion is very good, let's arrange it like that." After lunch, Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan boarded a carriage. Han Feng and Yi Xiao were riding alongside. The carriage headed straight for Kaiyuan Temple. Kaiyuan Temple always attracted many elite families, and Jiang Peihuan, not wishing to be jostled by the crowd, directed Han Feng towards the rear hill. Xiao Nani had no objections. But as the carriage reached the foot of the hill, Han Feng suddenly halted the horses. Then he looked at the carriage and said in a low voice, "Master, Queen, there's someone." The moment Han Feng stopped, Yi Xiao drew his sword, and Xiao Nanya's expression darkened. Soon, sounds of fighting were heard. Lifting the curtain, Jiang Peihuan was startled by the scene. The man fighting with Han Feng was none other than Duan Yan, recognized by his severed hand. Duan Yan, unable to harness his special shrinking skills anymore, was no match for Han Feng. Quickly, Han Feng had Duan Yan pinned. As he poised to strike with his sword, Jiang Peihuan whispered, "Wait." At her voice, Han Feng redirected his blade. Jiang Peihuan looked at Duan Yan. If not for his severed hand, she would think him a beggar given his tattered clothes. After a moment, she calmly said, "Let him go." Han Feng looked to his master, Xiao Nani, for confirmation. Meeting Han Feng's gaze, Xiao Nani simply said, "Follow the queen's wishes." With that, Han Feng withdrew his sword. "Let's go." Jiang Peihuan lowered the curtain. However, just then Duan Yan's voice pierced the silence, reaching both Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani. "You have only 10 days left to live." Chapter 343. Curse Technique. What are you blabbering about? Just as Han Feng was about to withdraw his hand, upon hearing this, the long sword in his hand lunged forward again. However, Duan Yan seemed unbothered. "Did I say something wrong? She's been cursed. In 10 days she will die." "You say Huan Heir has been cursed?" At this moment, Xiao Nani immediately dismounted from the carriage. He approached Duan Yan. Looking at the man who had personally severed his own hands, Duan Yan's eyes were filled with hatred, but also a touch of fear. Upon hearing Xiao Nanya's question, Duan Yan continued, "If I'm not wrong, she's been having nightmares every night these days. In a few more days, her vitality will be completely drained, and she will die in her sleep. Is there a cure? Why should I tell?" Before Duan Yan could finish, Xiao Nani grabbed him by the throat. The force in the man's grip intensified. "I have little patience. You may have no hands, but you still have legs. I know you're not afraid of death, but there are many fates worse than death in this world. Would you like to try one?" After saying this, Xiao Nani released his grip. Duan Yan fell to the ground. He lifted his head, his eyes full of anger directed at Xiao Nani, but upon meeting the latter's emotionless gaze, the fury in Duan Yan's eyes vanished. He turned to Jiang Peihuan. "In gratitude for sparing my life, 111 save yours. Then we'll be even." Han Feng, take him back to the mansion. Yes. The group didn't continue to Kai Yuan Temple, but went straight back to the general's mansion. Upon arriving at the plum garden, Xiao Nani looked at Duan Yan and said, "Speak, how can this curse be broken?" "The curse can be easily broken, but to undo the curse there's a condition. You have to find the curse talisman." "Curse talisman?" "Of course, to enact the curse talisman must be placed near the cursed person." "Find it." Upon hearing Duan Yan's words, Xiao Nani ordered Han Feng. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan also spoke to Yi Xiao. "You and you heir help them." "Yes." Following Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan's orders, the entire plum garden was in chaos. It was still afternoon, but by the time it was completely dark, Yi Xiao returned with some people to Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani. "Have you found it?" Yi Xiao brought out a package. Unfolding it, Jiang Peihuan saw a piece of baby clothing with a yellow talisman inside. "Is this it?" Jiang Peihuan said in a low voice to Duan Yan. Hearing her words, Duan Yan stepped forward, carefully examined the talisman in Yi Xiao's hand, then nodded. "Yes, this is the cursed talisman." Looking at the talisman in Yi Xiao's hand, a complex emotion flashed in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. If it were in the past, she wouldn't have believed in any curses, but having been resurrected, she now believed in everything. At this moment, Xiao Nani directly looked at Duan Yan and said, "Tell me, how can this curse be broken?" "Wait until tonight. When she goes to sleep, have someone stand by with this talisman. When she starts having nightmares, burn this cursed talisman, and the curse will be broken." Hearing Duan Yan's words, Xiao Nani couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. But seeing the item in Yi Xiao's hand, his expression instantly turned dark. "Who sent this?" "Its secondary consort Shui." Hearing this, Xiao Nani immediately stood up. Seeing his reaction, Jiang Peihuan hurriedly reached out and held onto his sleeve. "Huan heir? Even now you still want to protect her? She wants my life. Why would one protect her? But from what I know of Shuiru, she was probably used by someone else. So let's discuss this after the curse is broken." Hearing her words, Xiao Nani sat back down. Then Jiang Peihuan turned to Duan Yan. "After the curse is broken, what will happen to the one who cast the curse?" "This curse technique is a poison technique. It's either you die or they die. If the curse is not broken, you will die. But if it's broken, you will live, and they will die." After everything was arranged, Duan Yan was taken away. That night, deep into the night, inside Jiang Peihuan's room. "It's okay, I'm here with you." Jiang Peihuan lay on the bed, with Xiao Nani sitting beside her. Hearing his voice, Jiang Peihuan nodded and whispered, "Don't worry, I'm fine." He didn't respond but took her hand instead. At first, Jiang Peihuan wasn't sleepy, but soon, the faint fragrance in the air lulled her into a deep sleep. Xiao Nani watched her intently, and when he saw her frown, he immediately turned to Duan Yan and the others. "Can we start?" Duan Yan glanced at the expression on Jiang Peihuan's face, then said to Han Feng, "Quickly, burn the talisman." Han Feng, holding the talisman in one hand and a fire starter in the other, ignited the talisman. Though it was just a piece of paper, it took a long time to burn completely. As the talisman burned, Jiang Peihuan's face contorted in pain. Xiao Nani quickly held her close. "Huan heir, I'm here." Perhaps hearing Xiao Nani's voice, Jiang Peihuan's struggle slowly ceased. As the curse on the talisman gradually disappeared, her expression calmed. When the talisman was entirely consumed, Jiang Peihuan's breathing became steady. Just as Xiao Nani was about to wake her up, Duan Yan stopped him. "Let her sleep." Hearing this, Xiao Nani retracted his hand and lay down beside Jiang Peihuan. The others in the room also left. In the Prince Qing's mansion, "Princess consort, there's a problem." Jiang Yan was groggily woken up by a maid. Seeing the maid rushing over, Jiang Yan's sleepiness vanished. "What happened?" "Princess consort, the wizard is dead." "What did you say?" Hearing the maid's words, Jiang Yan's eyes widened in shock. A moment later, Jiang Yan entered the room, and was met with a gruesome sight. For the wizard lay on the ground, blood seeping from his 7 orifices. Chapter 344. Revenge Princess Consort. Secondary consort Xue has arrived. The maidservant's voice roused Jiang Yan's thoughts. Send her away, tell her I. Princess consort? Before Jiang Yan could finish, Xueru walked straight in. Seeing the scene before her, a touch of surprise appeared in Xueru's eyes. But after a few seconds of silence, her gaze turned displeased. Did you fail? You failed, didn't you? Jiang Yan remained silent, and her silence spoke volumes. Seeing Jiang Yan's silence, Xueru's already displeased expression darkened further. You said it was foolproof. Why did it fail? Why? Do one more thing for me. Xueru glared furiously at Jiang Yan, but before she could complete her sentence, Jiang Yan grasped both her hands. Hearing Jiang Yan's words, Xueru seemed to forget what she wanted to say and subconsciously asked, What do you want me to do? I need you to visit the general's mansion for me. Then Jiang Yan whispered something into Xueru's ear. Whatever she said left Xueru somewhat puzzled, but she nodded in agreement. After a moment's thought, Xueru spoke. Princess consort, although you saved me, I've also aided you. I'll help you one last time, and then we are even. All right. Hearing Xueru's words, Jiang Yan nodded without hesitation. General's mansion. The next morning, when Jiang Peihuan opened her eyes, she felt a bit dazed. Lately, every morning, she felt as if all her strength had been drained. It was the first time in days she felt energized. Just as Jiang Peihuan was about to sit up, she recognized a familiar voice. It was Xiao Nani. The man approached her bedside, took Jiang Peihuan's hand, and whispered, Huan you're awake. How are you feeling? Any discomfort? Xiao Nani's eyes were full of concern. Seeing his expression, Jiang Peihuan smiled and said, I'm fine. I don't feel unwell. Seeing that Jiang Peihuan looked spirited, relief appeared in the man's eyes. However, when he heard what Yi Xiao had to say, the warmth in his eyes vanished, replaced by sheer killing intent. My queen, secondary consort Xue has arrived. Hearing Xueru's name, Jiang Peihuan's eyes darkened. Looking at Yi Xiao, Jiang Peihuan ordered, Go personally inform my mother about this, and ask her to come over. Yes. In the courtyard of the plum garden, Xueru stood there, taking in the scenery, her eyes filled with complex emotions. She remembered her first visit here. She couldn't understand she and Jiang Peihuan were alike, so why was there such a disparity between them? Lost in her thoughts, Xueru suddenly felt her wrist being grabbed. The next thing she knew, her wrists were bound. Seeing this, panic appeared in her eyes. What are you doing, you? As Xueru struggled, she saw Jiang Peihuan approaching. It had been a long time since Xueru last saw Jiang Peihuan. Now, watching the approaching figure, Xueru's eyes were filled with mixed feelings. Jiang Peihuan was dressed in a green plain dress. There weren't any excessive decorations on her. Yet she looked stunningly beautiful. Xiao Nani, supporting her hand, stood by her side, his eyes full of tenderness. Huan asked them to let me go. It was me who ordered them to tie you up. Before Xueru could finish, Jiang Peihuan cut her off. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Xueru quickly spoke. Why? Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan paused momentarily, then laughed. Yet, the laugh was filled with sarcasm. Looking at Xueru, Jiang Peihuan said softly, Secondary consort Xue, have you forgotten your own misdeeds? What did I do? Slap. As Xueru spoke, she felt a sharp pain on her face. She looked up to see Xue Yin standing in front of her. Her eyes filled with coldness. Mother. Seeing Xue Yin take action, Jiang Peihuan was taken aback and rushed over. However, Xue Yin grabbed Jiang Peihuan's hand. Huan let me handle this, all right? When Xue Yin spoke, her eyes were full of guilt. Hearing her words, Jiang Peihuan didn't hesitate and nodded. All right. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Xiao Nani frowned but didn't say anything, and left with Jiang Peihuan. After the two left, Xue Yin looked directly at Xueru. I thought you were just foolish, but I didn't expect you to be this cruel. I don't want Huan to dirty her hands, so I'll deal with you personally. Saying this, Xue Yin pulled out her dagger. Seeing Shui Yan's actions, Shuiru was terrified. "Aunt, what are you doing? Am your niece you, Before she could react, Shuiru felt excruciating pain in her wrists, and then her ankles. Shui Yan had severed the tendons in Shuiru's hands and feet, rendering her completely disabled. Throwing the dagger to the side, Shui Yan said to Shuiru, "I'm not your aunt. One don't have a niece as malicious as you. Shuiru, you share the Shui surname. I can't kill you, but I can make you a cripple so you can never harm Huan Er again." With that, Shui Yan turned and ordered, "Take her to the Prince Qing mansion." Yes. Soon after, Shuiru was carried away. Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani, standing in the courtyard, saw Shuiru being taken. Jiang Peihuan's expression was calm, while Xiao Nani looked somewhat surprised. At that moment, Han Feng approached Xiao Nani and whispered, "Master, everything you instructed has been arranged. Then let's go and inform the Imperial Astronomical Bureau astronomical supervisor." "Yes. What did you ask Han Feng to do?" After Han Feng left, Jiang Peihuan couldn't help but ask. Facing Jiang Peihuan's gaze, the man replied softly, "Nothing much, just avenging you." "Revenge?" Jiang Peihuan was confused, but the man only whispered, "You'll know soon." An hour later, news spread that Emperor Qi Ming was critically ill. The palace's doctors frequently visited the Qianqing Hall, but to no avail. In the end, the Imperial Astronomical Bureau astronomical supervisor stepped in and said that Emperor Qi Ming was cursed. 2 hours later, the Imperial Army found a small wooden puppet filled with Emperor Qi Ming's birth characters in the Prince Qing mansion. It was filled with silver needles. "Bastard, what have you done?" Emperor Qi Ming looked at the little wooden puppet on the ground and directly kicked Xiao Juanhao in the chest. Chapter 345. Jiang Yan's death. The Emperor of Qi Ming exerted a considerable amount of force, causing Xiao Juanhao to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. That wasn't enough. The Emperor kicked Xiao Juanhao several more times. Xiao Juanhao didn't dare to dodge. Only when the Emperor of Qi Ming stopped did Xiao Juanhao kneel and speak. "Imperial Father, please calm your anger. One don't know what I've done wrong to anger you so. You dare to ask?" Hearing Xiao Junhao's words, the anger that had just subsided in the Emperor of Qi Ming surged again. He pointed to the wooden puppet on the ground, and then looked at Xiao Juanhao. "You dared to curse me? You bastard. Do one still exist in your eyes?" "Imperial Father, one truly didn't know about this. It was the Imperial Guards who found this in your princess consort's quarters. Do you dare say you didn't know?" Hearing Xiao Junhao's words and the relentless questioning from the Emperor of Qi Ming, Xiao Juanhao simply shook his head. By the end of it, Xiao Junhao's eyes were full of pain. "Imperial Father, one truly didn't know. I swear, if one had known, may thunder strike me down, and may first have no place for burial." Xiao Juanhao raised 3 fingers above his head, swearing solemnly. Seeing Xiao Junhao's gesture, the anger in the Emperor of Qi Ming's eyes eased slightly, but upon seeing the wooden puppet on the ground, he still asked angrily, "You truly didn't know?" "I truly didn't know. That's your princess consort. How could you not know?" "Imperial Father, have you forgotten? You bestowed Jiang Yan upon me." As the Emperor of Qi Ming's words settled, Xiao Juanhao softly said. Upon hearing this, a complex emotion flashed in the Emperor's eyes. But soon after he looked at Xiao Juanhao with dissatisfaction. "So you are blaming me now? I wouldn't dare." After kowtowing to the Emperor of Qi Ming, Xiao Juanhao whispered, "Imperial Father, when the king of Jiangzhou rebelled, it was the imperial uncle who pacified Jiangzhou. The Jiang family surely harbors resentment against Imperial Father. After Jiang Yin married into the Qing mansion, she still held a grudge against you. I was always cautious. Yet this incident occurred. This is my mistake, and I ask for your punishment." If Xiao Juanhao had been evasive, the Emperor of Qi Ming would have grown weary. However, seeing Xiao Juanhao admit his mistake, the Emperor's expression softened. After observing Xiao Juanhao, who was kneeling on the ground, the Emperor of Qi Ming remained silent for a few seconds and then asked, "What if one asked you to divorce Jiang Yan?" At this, there was a moment of hesitation in Xiao Junhao's eyes. After a long while, Xiao Juanhao whispered, "Imperial father, although Jiang Yan is at fault, she is still my wife. All the mistakes are mine. Please punish me." Upon saying this, Xiao Juanhao lowered his head. From an angle where no one could see, Xiao Junhao's eyes were full of darkness. Upon hearing his words, all the anger in the Emperor of Qi Ming's eyes had disappeared. If Xiao Juanhao had immediately distanced himself from Jiang Yan, the Emperor of Qi Ming would have grown suspicious. But seeing Xiao Juanhao shoulder the blame, warmth appeared in the Emperor's eyes. After a while, the Emperor of Qi Ming looked at Xiao Juanhao and said, "All right, go back now. I will handle Jiang Yan. You don't need to worry about her anymore. But from now on, she is no longer your princess consort." Imperial father? Get out. Before Xiao Juanhao could say anything, Emperor Qi Ming directly spoke. Meeting Emperor Qi Ming's gaze, Xiao Juanhao dared not utter another word. He promptly left the Qianqing palace. But the moment he stepped outside the palace gates, his eyes were filled with laughter. Yet that smile was devoid of warmth. It was cold and menacing. Soon after, Jiang Yan was taken away by the imperial guards. When she was brought to the Supreme Court, Jiang Yan remained calm. But when she saw who had arrived, her face changed immediately. Hearing footsteps, Jiang Yan quickly lifted her head. "It's you." Seeing Jiang Peihuan, Jiang Yan spoke with a mixture of emotions. Jiang Peihuan looked at Jiang Yan sitting on the ground, her eyes filled with complexity. After a brief moment, she turned to leave. Seeing Jiang Peihuan's retreating figure, Jiang Yan cried out in shock, "Jiang Peihuan, don't you want to know why I wanted to kill you?" Hearing the footsteps behind her, Jiang Peihuan stopped, though she did not turn around. "I originally wanted to know the answer when one first came. But now, I suddenly feel it's unimportant." Saying this, Jiang Peihuan continued to walk forward. However, Jiang Yan yelled, "Stop right there." Perhaps moved by the intensity in the voice behind her, Jiang Peihuan paused. She then looked over at Jiang Yan from a distance. "Jiang Peihuan, when I first saw you, I wanted to be friends with you. But later, I realized we could never be friends because one was too jealous of you. Why is it that everything goes well for you while one end up like this? I'm no less than you. Isn't this the result of your own choices?" Throughout Jiang Yan's speech, Jiang Peihuan remained silent. Only when she finished did Jiang Peihuan softly respond. Her words were light, but they left Jiang Yan looking pale. Then, footsteps approached again. Lifting her head, Jiang Yan saw Xiao Nani, who came to stand beside Jiang Peihuan. The man's eyes held worry. He placed his cloak around Jiang Peihuan and meticulously fastened it. After ensuring she was covered, he said, "Aren't you done with your questions? It's cold in here. You're pregnant. Take care not to catch a chill." His voice was filled with concern, but his eyes held nothing but tenderness. Upon hearing Xiao Nanya's words, Jiang Peihuan softly said, "I'm done." "Then let's go." Hearing this, the man immediately took Jiang Peihuan's hand and led her out. Throughout, Xiao Nani didn't spare Jiang Yan a single glance. Watching the man's retreating figure, Jiang Yan's eyes filled with complexity. She remembered the first time she saw Xiao Nani. He was filled with murderous intent, and she believed that such a man was devoid of emotion. Later, she realized that Xiao Nani wasn't emotionless. Instead, he had given all his affection to one person, Jiang Peihuan. Ha 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 ha. Watching the figures of Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani disappear around the corner, Jiang Yan suddenly laughed. But amidst her laughter, as if recalling something, she cried out in the direction they had left. "It wasn't me, Jiang Peihuan. It wasn't me, it was..." At that moment, a shadow suddenly appeared before Jiang Yan. Chapter 346. Fantasy. Jiang Yan's eyes lit up with surprise and joy. "Jiang Peihuan, it's you." However, when she saw that the person approaching was Lin Mingyao, the surprise in Jiang Yan's eyes disappeared instantly. At this moment, Lin Mingyao's eyes were filled with smiles. Gazing at Jiang Yan, she spoke gently. "What do you want to say? Do you want to tell Jiang Peihuan that all of this was orchestrated by me from behind the scenes? Hearing this, Jiang Yan's face changed, and after a brief moment she said coldly, "You admit it then?" "Yes, I admit it," Lin Mingyao responded. "But if you hadn't foolishly sent Xueru to seek out Jiang Peihuan, you wouldn't have fallen into the trap." Seeing Lin Mingyao openly acknowledge her actions, Jiang Yan, full of confusion, questioned, "Why? Why? Haha." Upon hearing Jiang Yan's question, Lin Mingyao paused, then burst out laughing, as if she had heard a delightful joke. However, even though Lin Mingyao's face was filled with laughter, there wasn't a trace of amusement in her eyes. They were filled with darkness and resentment. Once she stopped laughing, Lin Mingyao, with a look of malice, stared at Jiang Yan. "Why, you ask? Jiang Yan, do you know that I was originally meant to be the princess consort of the Prince Qing? But because of you, I became a side consort. I could have accepted this, as he doesn't love you. But you shouldn't have continuously provoked me. You took what was rightfully mine. How could you then flaunt it in front of me? Every time you flaunted yourself in front of me, I wanted to kill you. So when you steal from others, was Xiao Juanhao truly yours?" Upon hearing Jiang Yan's words, Lin Mingyao's expression changed instantly. Seeing this, Jiang Yan laughed. She said lightly, "Lin Mingyao, you're an intelligent woman. Surely, you understand better than I who truly resides in Xiao Junhao's heart." "Shut up." "What, getting angry out of embarrassment, Lin Mingyao? Are you afraid to admit it, or are you trying to deceive?" Jiang Yan continued speaking, but suddenly, she couldn't utter another word. She collapsed to the ground. Lin Mingyao, watching this scene, approached with a smile. Staring at Jiang Yan, Lin Mingyao chuckled. "Did you forget that I am a doctor?" As she spoke, Lin Mingyao swiftly drew a dagger from her sleeve. Before Jiang Yan could react, Lin Mingyao plunged the dagger into her heart, stating, "I won't let anyone humiliate me, including you." With those words, she pressed harder, and soon after, Jiang Yan closed her eyes. Moments later, Jiang Yan stopped breathing. After doing all of this, Lin Mingyao left. Upon leaving the Supreme Court, she didn't head back to the Qing mansion, but instead went to the Lin family residence. Standing in front of the Lin mansion, Lin Mingyao's eyes revealed a mix of emotions. After a long while, she approached and knocked. "Miss Lin." The gatekeeper, upon seeing Lin Mingyao, showed surprise in his eyes. Unsure of her intentions, he attempted to close the gate, but she stopped him. "I want to see Lin Xingqian. Go tell him I have important matters to discuss. If he refuses to come out, I won't leave." Saying this, Lin Mingyao took a stance, indicating she wouldn't leave. The gatekeeper had no choice but to go and inform Lin Xingqian. At this moment, Lin Xingqian was playing chess with Lin Mingxin. Upon hearing the message, he frowned. Without hesitation, Lin Xingqian immediately said, "Ask her to leave." "Brother Xingqian, perhaps you should meet elder cousin sister after all." After saying this, Lin Mingxin lowered her head. Seeing this, Lin Xingqian instructed the gatekeeper, "Let her in." "Big brother Xingqian, I'll leave first." "Stop right there." Hearing the voice from behind, Lin Mingxin instinctively stopped. "This is your home. Why are you leaving?" Hearing this, a hint of a smile appeared in Lin Mingxin's eyes. After a while, she nodded firmly. "Okay, then 111 stay with you, brother Xingqian." With that, Lin Mingxin took a seat next to Lin Xingqian. After some thought, she even moved her chair closer to him. Seeing Lin Mingxin's actions, a glint flashed in Lin Xingqian's eyes, but he didn't say anything. Hearing footsteps, Lin Xingqian looked towards the entrance. Dressed in a white skirt, Lin Mingyao appeared pure and serene. Yet, Lin Xingqian was more aware than anyone else of his cousin's ruthless nature. "Elder cousin sister?" Upon seeing Lin Mingyao, Lin Mingxin instinctively called out, "Xian Xian." Upon hearing the voice, Lin Mingyao looked at Lin Mingxin sitting next to Lin Xingqian. The sight surprised her. The timid girl from her memories was now dressed in extravagant attire, the likes of which even she didn't have many. And the jewelry Lin Mingxin wore, much of it Lin Mingyao had never seen before. Xian, it seems you've been living well." "I'm very happy to be with brother Xingqian." Lin Mingxin responded with a smile, believing Lin Mingio's words were out of concern. However, Lin Mingio's gaze turned cold, but remembering her purpose, she forced a smile. Xian, Xingchen and I have important matters to discuss. You should leave. Oh, okay, if you have anything to say, just say it. It's not your turn to give orders here. Hearing Lin Mingio's words, Lin Mingxin instinctively wanted to leave, but Lin Xingchen grabbed her sleeve. Subsequently, Lin Xingchen's gaze turned icy as he stared at Lin Mingyao. Holding back her anger, Lin Mingyao forced a smile and said, Xingchen, I really have something important to discuss with you. My patience is limited. Speak quickly or leave. Suppressing her emotions, Lin Mingyao continued, Xingchen, one hope you can align with Prince Qing. You said what? Hearing Lin Mingio's words, Lin Xingchen's eyes widened in surprise. Seeing his reaction, Lin Mingyao persisted. You're now favored by the emperor. Supporting the prince will be beneficial for your future. Ha ha ha. Upon hearing this, Lin Xingchen couldn't contain his laughter any longer. Seeing his reaction, Lin Mingyao became visibly upset. What's so funny? I find it utterly ludicrous. Have you forgotten? One serve King Cheng. You're asking me to side with Prince Qing. What are you thinking? The entire Qi kingdom knows that the prince whom King Cheng dislikes the most is Prince Qing. Chapter 347. Rumors. Upon hearing those words, Lin Mingio's already displeased expression darkened even more. After a moment, she looked directly at Lin Xingchen and said, Even if King Cheng gains the emperor's favor, he is still just the emperor's uncle. However, your highness is a prince. If he ascends to that position, you... Enough! Before Lin Mingyao could finish her words, Lin Xingchen interrupted her abruptly. Facing Lin Mingyao, Lin Xingchen said coldly, Let's not talk about whether Prince Qing can ascend to that position. Even if he could, one wouldn't care. Also, haven't you forgotten that the current empress is already pregnant? As long as she gives birth to a prince, he will be the crown prince, and that position will have nothing to do with Prince Qing. In the future, don't come here anymore. I don't want to see you. Someone see the guest out. With that, Lin Xingchen looked at the servant by his side and spoke. With rage in her eyes, Lin Mingyao was directly escorted out. After Lin Mingyao left, Lin Xingchen said to Lin Mingxin, Stay away from her in the future. She's no good. Do you understand? Lin Mingxin looked puzzled but still nodded seriously. Shortly after, Lin Xingchen left Lin's mansion and went straight to the general's mansion. Jiang Peihuan was talking to Xiao Nani when she heard of Jiang Yan's death. Hearing this news, her eyes filled with confusion. How did she die? The news came from Yi Xiao, so Jiang Peihuan turned to her to ask. Hearing Jiang Peihuan's question, Yi Xiao frowned. She died of poisoning. When the jailers found her, there was a dagger in her heart. Master, General Lin is here. Just as Jiang Peihuan was about to speak, she saw Han Feng approaching. A moment later, Lin Xingchen followed Yu Er to join them. Upon seeing Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, he greeted, King Queen Cheng. Why are you here? Xiao Nani asked directly. Lin Xingchen took a seat opposite Xiao Nani, took a sip from his teacup, and then recounted the conversation he had with Lin Mingyao. After finishing, Lin Xingchen looked at Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan and said, I believe, all this is probably Prince Qing's idea. He really is doing whatever he can now. Xiao Nani responded with a hint of sarcasm in his eyes upon hearing Lin Xingchen's words. Hearing the two men's conversation, Jiang Peihuan spoke softly. It seems that the news of the empress' pregnancy has made him anxious. Even if he's anxious, that position will never be his. Hearing Xiao Nani's words, Jiang Peihuan remained silent. In her past life, with the entire Jiang family paving the way, Xiao Juanhao indeed ascended to that position. But in this life, he didn't want to use the Jiang family as a stepping stone anymore. Your Highness, is there anything I need to prepare for this? No need. Proceed as usual. If he oversteps, I will personally chop off his hand. By the end of that sentence, Xiao Nani's eyes were filled with murderous intent. By the way, when I came, I heard that the princess consort of Qing Mansion had died. And the killer was Queen Cheng. Is that what's being said outside? Hearing Lin Xingchen's words, Jiang Peihuan's eyes revealed a hint of complexity. Lin Xingchen remained silent but nodded. After speaking with Xiao Nani for a moment, Lin Xingchen left. Watching his departing figure, Jiang Peihuan mockingly said to Xiao Nani, I wondered why Jiang Yan suddenly died. It seems her death was meant to implicate me. Don't worry. With me here, no one can harm you, Xiao Nani reassured. Jiang Peihuan nodded but turned to Yi Xiao. Go investigate. See what really happened. Yes. That night, the entire capital came to know that Jiang Peihuan had killed the princess consort of Qing Mansion. When the news reached the general's mansion, Jiang Peihuan was in a light sleep. But soon she opened her eyes. As Jiang Peihuan woke, she noticed Xiao Nani was also awake. Their eyes met, and neither spoke. Suddenly, there were sounds of a fight outside. Who are you? How dare you barge into the general's mansion? It was Han Feng's voice. Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan exchanged a look and got up. Put on your clothes first. Seeing Jiang Peihuan about to head outside, Xiao Nani quickly draped a cloak over her. Opening the door, Jiang Peihuan saw a man in black fighting with Han Feng. She knew of Han Feng's skills, but this intruder seemed to be his equal. The noise alerted the soldiers of the general's mansion, and soon, Deputy General Liu arrived with reinforcements. With his assistance, the man in black was quickly injured. However, instead of fleeing, he raised his long sword and lunged at Jiang Peihuan. You're courting death. Xiao Nani, standing beside Jiang Peihuan, saw the attacker and kicked him in the abdomen. The man in black fell to the ground. Han Feng then stepped on the man's chest and pulled off his mask. It's you. To Han Feng's surprise, it was Jiang Yan's guard. Jiang Peihuan had met this guard back in Jiangzhou. Seeing the man on the ground, Jiang Peihuan coldly inquired, Did you come to avenge Jiang Yan? You killed the princess. One must avenge her. The guard hissed with hatred in his eyes. Looking at the person on the ground, Jiang Peihuan said coldly, You came to kill me because you want to avenge Jiang Yan? You killed the princess, so I must kill you to avenge her. Jiang Peihuan calmly replied, Jiang Yan's death has nothing to do with me. Hearing her words, the guard looked stunned, but then angrily retorted, If not you, then who? After you went to the Supreme Court, the princess died. I truly did not kill her, Jiang Peihuan interrupted. The guard looked lost and murmured, If not you, then who? I'd like to know that too, she replied. Perhaps the person who killed Jiang Yan knew you'd come after me. Hearing this, the guard's face paled. He suddenly pushed Han Feng aside, intending to leave. Han Feng instinctively wanted to chase, but Jiang Peihuan stopped him. Let him go. Queen Cheng. Both Han Feng and Deputy General Liu looked puzzled, but Jiang Peihuan whispered, Perhaps we'll soon find out who it really was. After leaving the general's mansion, the guard went straight to the Qing prince's mansion. He entered Lin Menjiu's courtyard and barged into her room. Chapter 348. Orders. When Jiang Yan's guards rushed into Lin Menjiu's room, she was drinking tea. Upon seeing the intruder, Lin Mingyao acted as if she saw nothing. It wasn't until Jiang Yan's guard placed his long sword directly at Lin Menjiu's neck that she finally looked up at the guard in front of her. What are you do? Did you kill the princess? Before Lin Mingyao could finish her sentence, the guard interrupted her. As he spoke, his eyes were full of gloom. Hearing the guard's question, Lin Mingyao responded calmly. Did Jiang Peihuan tell you this? Just tell me, did you or did you not? It doesn't matter if one tell. Yes, I did kill Jiang Yan. Hearing Lin Menjiu's confession, Jiang Yan's guard was momentarily stunned. He hadn't expected her to admit it so directly. However, after recovering from his shock, he gripped his sword, lunging at Lin Mingyao. I'll kill you. But before the sword could reach Lin Mingyao, he felt his body go limp. Subsequently, the guard collapsed to the floor. Lying on the ground, the guard looked at Lin Mingyao in shock. Lin Mingyao met his gaze with a brilliant smile. Did you know? Jiang Yan was also drugged by me. That's why I easily plunged the dagger into her heart. Just like now. As she spoke, Lin Mingyao picked up the fallen sword. And with her words ending, she thrust the sword directly into the guard's heart. The fallen guard, with resentment in his eyes, could do nothing. After confirming the guard had stopped breathing, Lin Mingyao pulled out the sword and discarded it. At that moment, the door to Lin Mingyao's room was pushed open. Lin Mingyao turned around subconsciously. Standing at the entrance was none other than Xiao Juanhao. When their eyes met, both of them looked surprised. Moments later, Lin Mingyao, with a hint of panic in her eyes, stammered, "Your Highness, No need to explain, I already know." "Yao Er, I won't blame you." After a few moments of silence, Xiao Juanhao looked at Lin Mingyao and said softly, as if he hadn't even noticed the dead guard on the floor. Hearing Xiao Junhao's words, instead of relief, Lin Mingyao's eyes filled with a complex emotion. Xiao Juanhao sat on a nearby chair. After a while, he looked at Lin Mingyao and asked, "One heard you went to the Lin mansion today. How did it go?" Hearing this, a hint of discomfort appeared in Lin Mingyao's eyes. After briefly recounting her conversation with Lin Xingqian, Lin Mingyao whispered, "Your Highness, I fear Lin Xingqian may not side with you." "It doesn't matter." Hearing Lin Mingyao's words, Xiao Junhao's face darkened, but soon he managed a smile. Looking at Lin Mingyao, Xiao Juanhao whispered, "Yao Er, one have another favor to ask of you." "Whatever you command, Your Highness." Xiao Juanhao beckoned Lin Mingyao closer, and as she approached, he whispered something into her ear. Whatever he said left Lin Mingyao in shock, but she nodded. "All right, one will prepare the potion." Seeing her nod, Xiao Juanhao gently held her hand and whispered, "Yao Er, am entrusting this matter to you." "Your Highness, don't worry. Yao Er will definitely handle this well. I trust you." Having said that, Xiao Juanhao left Lin Mingyao's room. Watching Xiao Junhao's retreating figure, the warmth in Lin Mingyao's eyes vanished instantly, revealing only coldness. "General Mansion. My queen, that guard has been killed by Lin Mingyao." "In that case, Jiang Yan was killed by Lin Mingyao." Hearing Yi Xiao's words, Jiang Peihuan replied faintly, "Even if Lin Mingyao didn't kill her, Jiang Yan's death has something to do with her." "Did you hear her say anything else?" "No." Shaking her head, Yi Xiao continued, "As I was about to approach, Prince Qing entered Lin Mingyao's room. One was afraid of being discovered, so I didn't dare to get closer and came back." Hearing Yi Xiao's words, Jiang Peihuan fell silent. After a moment she said, "It seems Xiao Juanhao already knows about Lin Mingyao killing Jiang Yan. Even if he knows, he won't do anything." As soon as Jiang Peihuan finished her sentence, Xiao Nani immediately spoke. "However, this matter cannot be let go like this." After saying that, Xiao Nani called out, "Han Feng." "Master?" Han Feng was outside the door. Hearing Xiao Nani's voice, he immediately opened the door and entered. After a glance, Xiao Nani said, "Go to the palace and inform my imperial brother about this. By the way, find a way to present the evidence to him." "Yes." After bowing to Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, Han Feng left the room. Watching Han Feng's retreating figure, Jiang Peihuan looked at the man beside her in confusion. "Why do you want to inform the emperor?" "It's naturally to let imperial brother know that you have nothing to do with this." Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan's eyes showed a hint of a smile. In the imperial palace. After hearing Han Feng's words, Emperor Qi Ming said coldly, "Is your master still in the general's mansion?" "Yes." "You bastard, when your master causes trouble, don't you know to persuade him?" Han Feng, who was scolded for no apparent reason. After a few seconds of silence, Han Feng couldn't help but say to Emperor Qi Ming, "Your Majesty, do you think my master is someone we can advise? I'm afraid you won't be able to persuade him. Get out." Hearing Han Feng's words, Emperor Qi Ming was taken aback, and then his eyes filled with anger, he scolded Han Feng. Han Feng, hearing this, said nothing and ran off. "Your Majesty, have some water." Wang Kuan, who was standing nearby, quickly approached, holding a teacup. Taking the teacup from him, Emperor Qi Ming said irritably, "Truly, like master like servant." Wang Kuan didn't know how to respond. Emperor Qi Ming finished the tea in the cup, and then resumed reviewing the memorials. But an hour later, Emperor Qi Ming fell asleep on the table. Seeing this, Wang Kuan was a little surprised but said nothing. He covered the emperor with a cloak. In the subsequent days, Emperor Qi Ming often fell asleep suddenly, and for increasingly longer durations. Qianqing Palace. How is it? Is there something wrong with my body? Chapter 349. Curing Emperor Qi Ming. Looking at the imperial doctor kneeling before him, Emperor Qi Ming spoke directly. What's the diagnosis? The chief of the medical institution responded softly. Your Majesty, based on your pulse, your health seems perfectly fine, but if there's nothing wrong with my body, why have I been falling asleep for no reason these past few days? Emperor Qi Ming interrupted him before he could finish. Hearing this, the imperial doctor fell silent. After a moment he murmured, Your Majesty, perhaps you've just been too exhausted lately. One would suggest you get more rest. Enough, you may leave. Hearing this, Emperor Qi Ming felt annoyed. Every doctor said the same thing. But Emperor Qi Ming clearly felt his body growing weaker. Yet every medical check revealed no issues. His eyes revealed his frustration. Even though he's an emperor, he's still human. He fears death, perhaps even more than the average person. Your Majesty, should we invite Queen Cheng to examine you? At that moment, Wang Kuan approached and whispered. Hearing this, Emperor Qi Ming looked puzzled for a moment, casting a doubtful gaze at Wang Kuan. Seeing the emperor's confused expression, Wang Kuan continued. Your Majesty, have you forgotten? Queen Cheng is renowned for her medical expertise. Wasn't the empress' health also restored under her care? Hearing Wang Kuan's words, a glint of hope appeared in Emperor Qi Ming's eyes. After some thought, the emperor whispered to Wang Kuan, Go personally and summon Jiang Peihuan to the palace. But make sure this remains discreet. Rest assured, Your Majesty. I know what to do. After bowing to the emperor, Wang Kuan immediately left the palace. Once outside, Wang Kuan headed directly to the general's mansion. Soon he encountered Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan. Jiang Peihuan was enjoying the plum garden with Xiao Nani. Hearing that Wang Kuan had arrived, the two approached him. Greetings, King and Queen Cheng. Seeing Xiao Nani and Jiang Peihuan, Wang Kuan quickly bowed in respect. After taking a seat, Jiang Peihuan said, Chief Wang, you needn't be so formal. What brings you here today? Does the emperor have any orders? Queen Cheng, I've come today to request a favor. Chief Wang, just speak your mind. After hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, Wang Kuan looked around. Noticing his gaze, Jiang Peihuan instructed, Everyone leave us. Once the hall was emptied, Jiang Peihuan turned her attention back to Wang Kuan. Queen Cheng, the emperor sent me to invite you to the palace. Wang Kuan lowered his voice and briefly explained the situation. Queen Cheng, this matter shouldn't be delayed. One request you accompany me to the palace. I'll come with you right away. I'll accompany you. Jiang Peihuan turned to look at Xiao Nani, but before she could say anything, she heard his deep voice. An hour later, Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani boarded the carriage to the palace. When Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani entered the Qianqing Palace, Emperor Qi Ming was reviewing petitions. Upon hearing their footsteps, he set down his brush. Greetings, Your Majesty. Stepping forward, Jiang Peihuan bowed to Emperor Qi Ming. As she did so, she instinctively glanced at him. With just one look, she knew that the emperor had been poisoned, as he looked extremely fatigued. Has Wang Kuan already informed you of the matter? Sitting down in a chair, Emperor Qi Ming looked directly at Jiang Peihuan. Jiang Peihuan nodded, then said, Your Majesty, allow me to take your pulse. Upon hearing her words, Emperor Qi Ming extended his hand. Jiang Peihuan held onto his wrist to check his pulse, being very thorough. After finishing, she couldn't help but frown. Emperor Qi Ming had indeed been poisoned, and the poison was extremely potent. What's with that expression? Emperor Qi Ming, noticing her concerned look, asked coldly. Hearing his words, Jiang Peihuan said, Your Majesty, you've been poisoned. What did you say? Hearing this, Emperor Qi Ming's eyes widened in shock. With a serious gaze, Jiang Peihuan continued. You've been poisoned, and it's extremely potent. At first, it will cause you to fall into a deep slumber, but after a month, it will kill you in your sleep. The emperor's eyes filled with fury. How audacious! Looking at Xiao Nani, Emperor Qi Ming ordered, handle this. I want to see who dares to target me. As he spoke, he began to cough. Seeing this, Jiang Peihuan hurriedly advised, Your Majesty, you must not get too agitated or the poison will act faster. Upon hearing this, Emperor Qi Ming took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. He then looked at Jiang Peihuan. Since you know I'm poisoned, do you have a cure? Yes, but it's complicated. Emperor Qi Ming's demeanor softened upon hearing the first word, but it quickly turned cold again when she continued. What's so complicated? To cure you, one need to use acupuncture. However, the insertion of the needles can be extremely painful. Hearing the mention of severe pain, a look of concern appeared in the emperor's eyes. But after a moment's thought, he firmly stated, Go ahead with the needles. I can endure a bit of pain. An hour later, a suppressed scream emanated from the Qianqing Palace. It was from Emperor Qi Ming. He sat in the chair with silver needles protruding from his scalp. At the moment, he felt as if someone was continuously hammering his head. Looking at Jiang Peihuan standing in front of him, he asked, Isn't there any other method besides this? We could use medicine, but its effects are not as good as acupuncture. Plus, there could be lingering side effects. Would you prefer to be treated with medicine, Your Majesty? Emperor Qi Ming. After a few seconds of silence, he tightly clenched his fist and whispered, This pain is nothing to me. As his words faded, he saw Jiang Peihuan preparing more silver needles. Seeing her actions, panic flashed in the emperor's eyes. What are you doing? Your Majesty, this will help you recover faster. Chapter 350. Rui Wang Rebellion. As she spoke, Jiang Peihuan's silver needle pierced again into Emperor Qi Ming's head. Soon after, Emperor Qi Ming let out a scream. In a place unseen by others, a complex look flashed in Jiang Peihuan's eyes. She wouldn't tell anyone, but she did it on purpose. More than half an hour later, just when Emperor Qi Ming felt he was about to pass out, Jiang Peihuan pulled out all the silver needles from his head. He wasn't sure if it was his imagination, but he immediately felt much better. After doing all this, Jiang Peihuan prepared to leave. However, as she turned around, Emperor Qi Ming's voice came from behind. Wait. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan stopped and turned to look at him. Your Majesty, is there still something discomforting you? Do not spread word of this, whispered Emperor Qi Ming. Hearing this, a flicker of confusion passed in Jiang Peihuan's eyes, but she quickly understood and nodded. Rest assured, Your Majesty. Then, Jiang Peihuan left the palace with Xiao Nani. After getting into the carriage, Xiao Nani looked at Jiang Peihuan. Earlier, you did that on purpose, didn't you? Hearing his words, Jiang Peihuan turned to look at him and nodded. Yes. She wasn't surprised that Xiao Nani realized she had intentionally tormented Emperor Qi Ming. However, what did surprise her was that Xiao Nani said nothing about it in front of the emperor. Perhaps guessing her thoughts, Xiao Nani glanced at her and laughed. The emperor also needs some lessons. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan's eyes widened in surprise, but she said nothing. The two returned to the general's mansion together. Shui Yan had sent someone to wait at the mansion gate for Jiang Peihuan. Seeing her return safely, the people at the mansion advised her to rest early. After all, Jiang Peihuan's belly was growing bigger by the day. After returning to the plum garden and freshening up, Jiang Peihuan lay down in bed. Seeing this, Xiao Nani put down the book he was reading. But just as he was about to lay down, there came an urgent knock on the door. Master. The person who knocked on the door was Han Feng. Hearing his voice, both Jiang Peihuan and Xiao Nani sat up. Jiang Peihuan even reached for a robe to put on. Huan lie down first, said Xiao Nani, patting her shoulder before he went to open the door. Seeing Han Feng at the door, Xiao Nani's eyes showed clear displeasure. What is it? Master, something has happened in the palace. Prince Rui has rebelled. Hearing Han Feng's words, Xiao Nanyes' expression changed instantly. Jiang Peihuan also came to his side immediately. Footsteps approached from outside. It was Jiang Chongbai. Seeing Han Feng, he directly said to Xiao Nani, "King Cheng, have you received the news?" "Yes," Xiao Nani replied with a nod. Then he turned to Jiang Peihuan and said, "Huan heir, stay in the mansion. If there's nothing going on, don't go out. I'm heading to the palace. King Cheng, I'll go with you." Upon hearing Xiao Nanyes' words, Jiang Chongbai spoke up immediately. Xiao Nani remained silent for a few seconds, then nodded. Jiang Peihuan did not comment on their decision but gently reminded them, "Be careful in all matters." "Don't worry, I'll be fine." Xiao Nani reached out and touched Jiang Peihuan's long hair, and then left with Han Feng. The news of the fire inside the palace had already spread. Jiang Hong and his two brothers had left the general's mansion. After everyone from the general's mansion had left, Jiang Peihuan turned to Yi Xiao and said, "Instruct Deputy General Liu on my orders to tightly close the mansion's doors. Unless it's someone from inside the mansion, the door should not be open for anyone." "Yes." "Eldest sister?" Yi Xiao had just left when Jian Peihuan saw Jiang Songbai running over. His eyes were filled with worry. Just as Yi Xiao left, Jiang Peihuan saw Jiang Songbai running towards her. His eyes filled with concern. It was probably the first time Jiang Songbai had encountered such a major event. Although he tried to remain calm, his eyes betrayed a hint of anxiety. Seeing the look in his eyes, Jiang Peihuan gently patted Jiang Songbai's shoulder, then whispered, "Songbai, our father, second uncle, and third uncle have already entered the palace. Our eldest brother is also not here. You are now the only man in the mansion, and you must remain calm." "Yes, I'll remember what you said, eldest sister. I've already ordered Deputy General Liu to have someone guard the door. You along with Ping'an should also go there. Also, inform third aunt and others to gather in grandmother's courtyard." "Yes." When Jiang Songbai arrived, his eyes were filled with panic. But after hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, he immediately looked more composed. Jiang Peihuan changed her clothes, and then walked to the Chrysanthemum Hall with Yi Xiao. When Jiang Peihuan arrived, old Madame Jiang had just gotten up. Zhou Rongfang and Lu Xiu had already arrived. Shui Yan and Jiang Hong had gone to the palace, so they weren't there. At that moment, most of the female members of the Jiang family were present. "Huan heir." When old Madame Jiang saw Jiang Peihuan, she quickly reached out her hand. Jiang Peihuan came forward, took the old madam's hand, and sat beside her, softly comforting. "Grandmother, don't worry, everything will be all right. I'm just concerned about your father and your uncles." Upon hearing the old madam's words, Jiang Peihuan remained silent for 2 seconds before replying, "Grandmother, don't worry. Father and the others will be all right. Nani also went to the palace. He won't let anything happen to them. Since King Cheng had went too, that's reassuring." Hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. At that moment, Jiang Peihuan heard crying from a child in Zhou Rongfang's arms. Hearing the crying, Jiang Peihuan instinctively looked at the child. She had assisted in the child's birth, witnessing his emergence from Jian Mai's womb. Why is the child crying? Is he hungry? Where is the nanny? Upon hearing the baby's cries, the old madam immediately asked. Zhou Rongfang, with tears in her eyes, replied, "It was such a rush when we left, I forgot to call the nanny." Hearing this, the old madam frowned. Just as she was about to speak, Jiang Peihuan gently tugged at her sleeve. Then, Jiang Peihuan looked at Yi Xiao and whispered, "Go to Fong Garden and bring over my younger brother's nanny." "Yes." After Yi Xiao left, Jiang Peihuan went to Zhou Rongfang's side and gently touched the baby's face. As soon as Jiang Peihuan reached out, the baby grabbed her finger and tried to put it in his mouth. Jiang Peihuan quickly pulled her hand away. The child began to cry again. "Second aunt, let me hold the little brother." Chapter 351. Chapter 351. Persuade to leave. Zhou Rongfang was extremely agitated. Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, She directly handed the child in her arms over to her. Curiously, as soon as the child reached Jiang Peihuan's arms, he stopped crying. Jiang Peihuan looked down at the child in her embrace. The baby greatly resembled Jian Mei and was indeed handsome. With one arm holding the baby, Jiang Peihuan gently touched the child's face with the other hand. Perhaps due to her own pregnancy. Looking at this child now, Jiang Peihuan felt a certain fondness. "My queen, the nanny has arrived," said Yi Xiao at this moment, accompanied by a wet nurse. Upon hearing Yi Xiao's voice, Jiang Peihuan handed the child over to the nanny without hesitation, instructing, "Take care of him." "Yes," replied the nanny with her head bowed, coming over to Jiang Peihuan. As Jiang Peihuan was about to extend her hand, the nanny suddenly tossed the child away. Drawing a dagger from her sleeve, she lunged at Jiang Peihuan in an assassination attempt. Everything happened so swiftly. "Huan er, my queen." Witnessing the scene, everyone showed signs of alarm. Jiang Peihuan could have evaded the dagger, but seeing the child thrown to the ground, her eyes revealed complex emotions. In the end, she leapt forward, catching the child in her arms, but the dagger also pierced into her arm. At this moment, Yi Xiao immediately stepped forward, kicking the nanny away. However, the nanny quickly reoriented herself, withdrawing her dagger to strike at Jiang Peihuan once more. Yi Xiao intervened, blocking the attempt. The nanny was highly skilled in martial arts, almost matching Yi Xiao's prowess. However, with her background as a professional guard and her rich experience, Yi Xiao quickly subdued her. As she was being captured, the nanny tried to bite her tongue to commit suicide. Jiang Peihuan quickly shouted, "Stop her, don't let her die." After handing the child back to Zhou Rongfang, Jiang Peihuan addressed the nanny. "Who are you? Who sent you?" Ignoring Jiang Peihuan's questions, the nanny defiantly turned her head away. "My queen, allow me to interrogate her," she proposed. "No need," Jiang Peihuan replied, shaking her head. Turning her gaze back to the nanny, a faint smile lingered on Jiang Peihuan's lips, but her eyes were filled with menace. Suddenly, 2 golden needles appeared in her hand. Before anyone could react, she swiftly plunged them into the nanny's body. As the needles penetrated, the nanny writhed on the ground, crying out in anguish. The members of the Jiang family watched in horror. "Nanny Su, please send grandmother inside to rest." "Yes. Second aunt, third aunt, you should go to the small hall to rest. Huan er, you must take care of yourself. Don't forget, you are pregnant." Lu Xiu's face was a bit pale, but after hearing Jiang Peihuan's words, she stepped forward and gently held Jiang Peihuan's hand. Seeing the concern in Lu Xiu's eyes, Jiang Peihuan smiled. "Third aunt, don't worry, I'm fine." Once the Jiang family members went inside, Jiang Peihuan then looked down at the wailing nanny on the ground. "There's no rush. You can say it whenever you want to." Saying this, Jiang Peihuan took a seat on a nearby chair. "My queen, you should stop the bleeding first." At this moment, Yi Xiao came to Jiang Peihuan's side, and whispered after seeing the wound on her arm. Jiang Peihuan didn't speak but nodded. Yu Er and Lu Er quickly fetched hot water, and prepared gauze and hemostatic medicine. Yi Xiao rolled up Jiang Peihuan's sleeve and, seeing the deep cut on her fair skin, showed a hint of guilt in her eyes, but said nothing. After applying the medicine carefully, Yi Xiao bandaged her wound. Once that was done, the nanny on the ground finally spoke. I'll talk. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan looked at her. Jiang Peihuan bent down to remove the golden needles from her body. With the needles out, the nanny stopped wailing. "Speak." Resuming her seat, Jiang Peihuan said lightly, "It was the empress who sent me, Nonsense." Before the nanny could finish, Jiang Peihuan interrupted her. Yet the nanny continued, "If Queen Qing doesn't believe me, you can investigate. One belonged to the Li family. It was the empress who sent me." "I'm afraid it wasn't the empress who sent you here, but the Li family," Jiang Peihuan retorted as soon as the nanny finished speaking. Seeing Jiang Peihuan's remark, the nanny showed a moment of panic. Although she quickly regained her composure, Jiang Peihuan had been closely observing her, and noticed the change in her expression. This confirmed Jiang Peihuan's suspicion. "Yi Xiao, take her away and have someone watch her." "Yes." As Jiang Peihuan was giving orders, she saw Deputy General Liu rushing over. "My queen! What happened? My queen! Soldiers are attacking our mansion. The third young master is defending the gate with our troops, but there are many attackers. I fear they won't hold out for long." Hearing Deputy General Liu's words, Jiang Peihuan's expression shifted, but she quickly regained her composure. Looking at Deputy General Liu, Jiang Peihuan ordered, "Bring all the servants from the backyard to the front yard. I will be there shortly." "Yes." After hearing Jiang Peihuan orders, Deputy General Liu left immediately. After Deputy General Liu left, Jiang Peihuan went straight to the Chrysanthemum Hall. Huan Air. The people inside also heard Deputy General Liu's voice. Old Madame Jiang, Zhou Rongfang, and Lu Xiu all looked at Jiang Peihuan. "Grandmother, later you, second aunt and third aunt will bring little brother to the secret chamber." "Huan Air, how can we leave you alone to face this?" Lu Xiu looked at Jiang Peihuan, her eyes bloodshot. And Jiang Peihuan replied, "Third aunt, there's no time to consider that now." Then, she turned to Zhou Rongfang, "Second aunt, my younger brother is the youngest of the Jiang family. No matter what, you must protect him. If something happens to the Jiang family, he is our hope." Huan Huan. At this moment, Zhou Rongfang also couldn't hold back her tears. "Those from the second and third families leave. Mother? Grandmother?" Chapter 352. Resisting the foreign enemies. Upon hearing old Madame Jiang's words, everyone turned to look at her. Old Madame Jiang said firmly, "My sons and grandsons are outside risking their lives. No matter what, I'll wait here for them. If the Jiang family remains unscathed, so will I. But if the Jiang family is threatened, I'll stand or fall with them. Huan Air, don't try to persuade me." When she spoke her last sentence, old Madame Jiang looked straight at Jiang Peihuan. "All right then, well, do as you said, grandmother." Huan Air. Upon seeing Jiang Peihuan knock old Madame Jiang unconscious, Lu Xiu's eyes widened in shock. Jiang Peihuan didn't say anything but turned to Nanny Su. "Please take good care of grandmother." "Eldest miss, don't worry. Even if it costs me my life, I'll take care of the old madam." Suddenly, sounds of fighting reached their ears. Jiang Peihuan quickly looked at Lu Xiu and the others. "Go hurry." Jiang Peihuan didn't reply. She watched as her grandmother, Lu Xiu, and the others were escorted away. Once their figures vanished from the room, she turned and headed towards the main entrance. By the time she reached the courtyard, she heard the sounds of combat. "Third young master?" Jiang Peihuan heard a shout. It was Ping An's voice. Instinctively, she quickened her pace. When she reached the front gate, she saw Jiang Songbai surrounded by soldiers. A soldier raised his long sword, aiming straight for him. There was no one around Jiang Songbai, and he couldn't avoid it. But suddenly, an arrow shot through the air. Jiang Songbai turned to see Jiang Peihuan, bow in hand, arrow knocked and ready. "Eldest sister." "Eldest miss." The household troops, upon seeing Jiang Peihuan, were reignited with fighting spirit. Dressed in a teal robe, her long hair casually draped over her shoulders, Jiang Peihuan calmly walked forward, confronting the attackers. When she reached the front, she addressed them. "Under whose command do you dare attack the family of a general?" "By the name of the new emperor. We're here to suppress the rebels and capture Queen Cheng." The opposing commander responded coldly. Hearing this, Jiang Peihuan's expression darkened. At this time, the only one who would dare call himself the new emperor would be Prince Rui. Without saying another word, Jiang Peihuan drew her long sword. "Where are the soldiers of the Jiang family?" "Here at your command. Follow my lead." "Yes." With her sword pointed downward, Jiang Peihuan swung it with force, then coldly shouted, "Attack!" The moment her command sounded, the entire household's troops surged forward, with Jiang Peihuan, sword in hand, leading the charge. Yi Xiao closely followed Jiang Peihuan, her eyes filled with a somber expression. Upon seeing this, Jiang Songbai quickly moved to shield Jiang Peihuan. Initially, The Jiang family soldiers were somewhat apprehensive facing the vast number of opponents. But seeing the fearless demeanor of Jiang Peihuan inspired them, lending them boundless strength. In less than an hour, the soldiers attacking the general's mansion retreated, not daring to advance even half a step. While they didn't dare to move forward, neither did they show any signs of retreating, only adamantly guarding the gate. Close the gate. Standing inside, Jiang Peihuan ordered gravely. Upon hearing Jiang Peihuan's voice, Jiang Songbai and Yi Xiao rushed to shut the gate. The moment the gates were closed, Jiang Peihuan swayed slightly. "My queen." Yi Xiao noticed and quickly supported her. Jiang Peihuan's sword-wielding hand trembled. She whispered, "I'm fine, just tired. Help me go rest." "Deputy General Liu, one will leave the rest to you," Jiang Songbai said. Without waiting for any response, Jiang Songbai carried Jiang Peihuan in his arms. Entering the room, he carefully laid her on the couch. That's when he noticed the wound on her arm. "What happened?" Seeing the concern in Jiang Songbai's eyes, Jiang Peihuan replied, "It's nothing, just a minor injury." "Songbai, listen to me." "Eldest sister, please speak." "I'm listening." "In less than half a cup of tea's time, reinforcements will surely arrive outside. You and Deputy General Liu must guard the main entrance. I'll have Yi Xiao bring you some medicine. Dilute it with water and pour it outside. The palace must be in chaos now. Father and elder brother might not be able to attend to the mansion. We as siblings, we must guard the Jiang family. Also, I sent grandmother and the others away. Do you blame me for leaving you behind?" "Eldest sister, what are you saying? With our elder brother absent, I'm the man of the Jiang family. If you, a lady, can be so brave, how can I be afraid? I'm proud to see that you've grown into a man of character." Yi Xiao, hand over the items to the third young master. "Yes." Yi Xiao then handed over several porcelain bottles to Jiang Songbai. Taking the bottles, Jiang Songbai reassured Jiang Peihuan, "Rest well, sister. I've got everything under control outside." With a nod from Jiang Peihuan, Jiang Songbai turned to Yi Xiao. "Take care of my sister." "Rest assured, third young master." After he left, Jiang Peihuan's face turned deathly pale. Yi Xiao approached and carefully lifted the hem of Jiang Peihuan's dress. It was stained deep red. Seeing the blood, Yi Xiao's face darkened. "My queen, you must not move. The young prince in your womb is in danger." "Yi Xiao, give me acupuncture." "All right." Yi Xiao didn't hesitate, and began inserting silver needles into her abdomen. Soon, Jian Peihuan's abdomen was filled with silver needles. Feeling her strength returning, Jiang Peihuan took a deep breath. Everything was chaotic in her mind. In her previous life, none of this had happened. There was no pregnancy, no rebellion, and the Jiang family was not under siege. Before she realized it, Jiang Peihuan fell asleep. Yi Xiao stayed by her side, covering her with a blanket upon hearing her steady breathing. Jiang Peihuan's suspicions were correct. The palace was also in chaos. In the Qianqing Hall, Emperor Qi Ming sat on his throne. Hearing the battles outside, his face turned grim. "How's the situation outside?" Looking at Wang Kuan standing nearby, the Qi Ming emperor asked quietly. "You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."